Wait, I'm trying to watch myself, watching myself to get really meta. Here we go! I just saw myself.
Two things. Is there a graphic for it?
No.
I don't think there is one. Why not? Or should I get it?
Hello everyone, welcome to Wednesday. It's hump day. How is everybody? Let me know where you guys are writing us from. If you're new to the show, welcome. This is Daily Blast Live. I'm feeling very like cool teacher today. You know what I mean, right? Like detention, but detention will be at the ice cream store. You know what I mean? We want to give, of course, our blessings and our prayers to the Bush family. We were live on air last night, guys, when we learned that Barbara Bush had passed away, and we kind of scrambled for stories, but we all remembered her very clearly from our memories. And as everyone said, she was the grandmother. She was the first grandmother. You never saw her without white hairs, a red suit, and pearls. She was constantly, you know, this like grand dam woman of Washington, and she was the matriarch of that family in DC. She was known as the enforcer, which might sound scary, and she was, but she ruled that family so well. They stuck together, they are very, very close, and they have a great legacy. She always taught literacy. That was her big thing, literacy advocacy for people who don't have means to buy books. And she also was one of the first people to hold a baby infected with HIV, much like Diana, and touch it and say, you can't get AIDS from touching someone with AIDS. So Barbara Bush was, I can't explain to you, but spitfire is like the right sort of word. What's another word for spitfire? Firecracker? Chutzpah. We're back to the chutzpah. We're back to chutzpah. She really was a woman who, although she was the grandmother of the Conservative Party, tenacity is another one. She was pro-choice. She was against Trump. So she made her own decisions, and she was just quite the female of that family, and she spoke her mind. And again, 2 presidents. She's the second woman only to have been wife to a president and mother of a president. Can you guys name the other person who was also a mother and a wife to a president? I'll wait. We'll see what happens because no one's written in yet. Should I just tell you guys? I'm gonna wait. Okay, I'll tell you. It's Abigail Adams. So John Adams was married to Abigail Adams. They had this love affair that you guys might know. He's the 2nd president of the United States, and her son John Quincy Adams became the 6th president of the United States. So 2nd and 6th, 41, 40. I'm not good with numbers. So we'll move on from there. If you guys have any memories of Barbara Bush and what she meant to you, or stories that you remember of her, she did die on her own terms. She died last night by giving up medical care, which I think a lot of people can relate to with parents or grandparents that have passed away. And she wanted comfort care, which is, you know, no medical intervention. She was at home. She had a bourbon in her hand, sipping in the morning, and her husband of 73 years. That is a longest in presidential history by her side. So we were talking about palliative care and how that's changed over the years. So we're going to be diving into a little bit of how is it for you guys now when you have a death in the family with hospice? It used to never be spoken about. For all you who are young, it used to be a thing we wouldn't discuss, and you'd put them in hospice and never talk about it again. And now it can be a very dignified, very compassionate way of passing on. And I think Barbara Bush exuded that, which was very exciting. So you guys are writing in. She was the grandmother of us all. She was a great first lady, Tammy Gibson. As my husband said and Alex said, she was almost born like 60 years old. Do you know what I mean? She just always looked so put together and so classy. But let me tell you something, her wit, her dry sense of humor, she's hilarious. If you guys go back, there's an interview with her with Oprah, and Oprah goes, how do you stand being the first lady? And she goes, I quote you all the time. And she said all this stuff about Oprah, and Oprah's like, I had no idea that you even listen to me. And she was like, I count my blessings, but I make my own blessings. And it was like, Oprah was like, okay. And she was just really a strong woman. Imagine having 2 presidents in your family, but the one you're scared of is Barbara Bush. That tells you something about how the enforcer works. Jenna and Barbara I went to school with and around DC, and when they were in trouble, it was not daddy, it was not grandpa, it was grandma. that was big. When they were caught drinking underage, Grandma was the one in pearls to set those girls straight, and she did a phenomenal job. So may she rest, and may she have an easy crossing. And you know, we were talking about palliative care. If you guys have stories or thoughts about how the hospice industry has moved on, I think that's a valid discussion to talk about, since she decided to give up medical treatment and to be in comfort. She, again, had that bourbon in her hand and her husband by her side. So we want to hear if you have stories of grandparents or loved ones dying and they gave up care. Was it a dignified response? Was it a good experience? Sam had a wonderful experience with her Oma, who passed on, because they were all there. They could say goodbye. And our EP had a very different experience when they said, we're going to make your mother feel comfortable, and then that means morphine to a lot of people, and he didn't know that. So we're trying to bounce this off and relate it to you guys and let us know how that affects you, because we've all gone through this. Death is a part of life, and you know, she died so dignified in the way she wanted to go, which is how she lived her life. She had a lot of strength, says Stacey Sorber, Ellis Walker, and yes, all of us that were on Facebook and YouTube with last night found out the death of Barbara Bush. It is funny when you're on live TV and you hear about someone passing. We were all sort of waiting for it in some ways, but it hits you in a different way because we're finding out when you guys are finding out. So that's the great thing about Daily Blast Lives. It's very personal.
And you know, I just if I can help, Tori.
Please.
You know, we were talking in the meeting about how this is something 10 years ago we wouldn't talk about in the public.
I was going to say, usually with death, everyone was very hush-hush. 10 years ago, Jason saying how you'd sort of put someone in hospice, forget about it, it'd be scary, no one would discuss it. And in the last 10 years, he's absolutely right. There's just been an outpouring of a new industry of death care and how to die with dignity and strength and with your loved ones and on your own terms. I think that's what's important.
Exactly. I think early on, people thought it was a form of weakness to say that you wanted to end it on your terms, or a sin in some religions. And I think people have taken it, you know, you should be able to choose how you want to go, in my opinion.
Exactly, and you know, you go. It leads you to that other discussion, right? In Oregon and Washington, they have assisted suicide, and that's legal, like they have in other, you know, in European countries, and that leads you to say, do you have your own rights about how you feel you want to pass on? And I think what Barbara Bush, even in her legacy, did is she gave up medical care, she came home, she did it her way. Man, is that so Barbara Bush? But it leads us to a discussion of what does that mean that you now have the option to have the dignity to make your own choice? And that, like Sam was saying, everyone surrounded her Oma, people were around her. There's a sense of, I want to go my own way. And I think that that has become a real a strength and a progression in American history that we haven't seen before. It used to be very death, oh my God, hush, hush. But we've all gone through that. That's the one thing we all have in common. So it's amazing. Come on.
In fact, I imagine a lot of our viewers are probably dealing with this with their own parents right now, or are thinking about directives for their own living wills and trusts. And so if you're struggling with it, or you're dealing with it, or you've had an experience that has been positive, or maybe even not so positive, we want to hear about it.
We definitely want to hear about it. Now, this is from Stacey Sorber. I was the last person to hold my grandmother. Then she passed, and it started to snow on December 25th. Wow, that's a beautiful statement. Just that simplicity of that, and just imagining the snow. That's amazing. 56 is me. Hello, DBL. Barbara Bush impacted a huge numbers through her inspiration with literacy. Remember, she gave books and advocacy before that was well talked about again to the people who didn't have any funding. So these are low-income families. She said they also need books. Guess what? Literacy was her big legacy, and she gave a lot to low-income families. Learning multi-layered steps to learning to read has had such an impact nationwide. She also, if you guys don't remember, famously hugged a baby who was infected with HIV, much like Diana when she physically touched someone. In the 90s, this was unheard of. She held that baby and said, literally, you can't get AIDS from holding or touching someone infected with HIV. You have no idea what a conservative woman with pearls, what that means to people to hear that. That is as revolutionary as Mother Teresa with leprosy. I mean, you can't underestimate how much that meant to a lot of people. This is from April. April writes, I lost my dad in October. I'm so sorry, April. And he had cancer and he died in the hospital. He was ready to go. And there is a time when someone says, I'm ready to go. And at that point, they should be allowed to go, in my opinion, on their own terms. I think that gives you an easier way of transitioning and crossing over, and it's easier for the family. So if you don't have your contracts in order, you don't have a DNR and you want one, or you don't have a living will, Dr. Drew, Sam was telling us, make sure you have it concretely down so that siblings and other family members don't have to fight when this happens. It's really important at a very impactful, stressful time. You want to have that perfectly set up for you guys.
Maybe there's some people out there who believe differently than we do about that.
Yeah,
as well.
if you
Maybe
don't,
there's some people who
exactly.
believe that you should do everything in your power to keep your loved one alive, whether they.
And a lot of people think suicide, again, is against the law in several states, and people think it's for the states' rights that they want to keep those people there, and it's better for the states to not have suicide and assisted suicide. If you guys disagree with it, let me know. I'd love to hear your side of the story. I just know if it were me and my family, I'd want them to have ownership of the way that they passed on. But if you don't agree and you think we should do everything we can, let me know too, because that's a very valid point. Greenier 33 wrote, y'all did a great job last night handling the news. I really appreciate that. It's sometimes not easy when you get the news live. Ethan Helhowski's writing in, I'm struggling right now with my grandfather, and I had a terrible dream of him choosing to end his life last night, but I am supportive of euthanasia. Isn't that not the entire umbrella of it? You have nightmares about it, but you support it. That is that in a sentence. There is nothing easy about this. This is nothing fun for the people still living. But again, you put yourselves in that person's shoes and you say, if they want to let go, who am I? Who am I to stop them from letting go? That's their life. So I also support euthanasia, and I think it would give dignity to those. Remember, you're in terminal illness. You don't have a lot of dignity. You really don't, and I've been around people who have passed. There's a lack of dignity with just your bodily functions. To give someone this last gift is a tremendous thing, I think, of letting someone go on their own terms. And man, Barbara Bush did everything on her own terms. In fact, she said, whether or not you like her or the Trump administration, she says, I don't know why a woman would ever vote for Trump. Now, she's the grandmother of the Conservative Party saying that about the presidential campaign nominee. Huge! So this woman did not hold back. The conflicting emotions suck, said Ethan Helhowski. Your writing is, I don't know if you're a writer, Ethan, but you are very succinct and you get to the exact point. Those conflicting emotions do suck. But I've been studying, we're getting real deep here today, sorry guys. I've been studying Buddhism, and there's nothing really wrong with conflicting emotions. We think there's something wrong, but both can exist and both are sort of interesting and curious to learn about. So maybe I would read, if anyone's out there and they're looking for a book, When Things Fall Apart is my favorite book for when things are falling apart, and it's by Pema, P-E-M-A, Chodron. She's a New Yorker whose husband had an affair. She hit him with a rock on his head through a pebble and said, I'm becoming a Buddhist nun, and now she's the Dalai Lama American liaison. So she's a Tibetan monk, and she's wonderful, and she's been on Oprah and all that. But When Things Fall Apart allow you to have conflicting emotions. So I highly recommend for anyone going through this, my thoughts are with you, but this book has helped me, so I hope it can help others. My father and our family, this is Shirley DeBose Taft. Hi, Shirley. We're told by one doctor that he would not go home from the hospital and would soon die. I took him to Mayo Clinic to get a second opinion, and we got 8 more years with him. And that's interesting because there's that line, Shirley, of if you're told you're going to go and you want to go on your own terms, what about the fight? And Shirley's saying, we went to another hospital and we got the fight back and we got 8 more years. So if that person is willing to fight, I say go for it. My mom's been fighting to live her whole life. She is a trooper. But at this point, 92, Barbara Bush had had several hospitalizations, and when she feels free to go, there isn't a better way to go, in my opinion, with your family and a bourbon surrounding you. Talk about baller. Dang. Happy midweek, says Pierre Kelly. Happy hump day, guys. What up? So anyone out there, what we're trying to do is sort of take this Barbara Bush situation, because she died in comfort care, and just relate it to you guys, how you feel about palliative care, how it's changed. If there are nurses that are watching, if there are hospice nurses, first of all, anyone who works in hospice, I bow down to you. Honestly, it's the most altruistic thing you could ever attempt to do to someone, is be with those that are dying and not let them be alone. I'm just in awe of anyone in hospice. But if you are, we'd love to hear from you. How has it changed? How has it been? Is it okay to allow the person to have the dignity of dying on their own, or should we fight till the very, very end? So we want to hear your comments on this. I'm also feeling very like, what do you think, teacher today? Like geography. Turn to page 53. Thank you, guys. We have an amazing video coming out, you guys, from Jordan Peele, which you guys know he wrote and directed Get Out and is part of Key and Peele. He's hilarious. This video is insane. It showed yesterday, it aired yesterday, and I thought it was so real. If you haven't seen it, we're going to be showing you in the show, but just to give you a preview, it's President Obama, and he's speaking, and he says, he calls President Trump a beep, And I'm like, oh my gosh, I thought he had more class than that. The whole video was altered, was fake. And Jordan Peele was saying, if I can do this, anyone can do anything. So it is a phenomenal way to make a message heard. And he picked the exact right person because he's going to get the most look. It's now in Adobe. You guys know that Photoshop thing, Adobe? I don't know much about it, but you can edit to make cartoons of almost of the mouth. And it's on Adobe's package now to move to whatever you want to say. So is this sort of the end of the truth? This is a great way of us discussing it. Jordan Peele is so creative to have done this because it got everyone's attention, and now globally we're having this discussion. So again, to anyone out there who's in hospice or dealing with a loved one, my heart, my thoughts, my prayers. I suggest When Things Fall Apart. It's my favorite book. And R.I.P. to Barbara Bush, the first grandmother who was really made of steel and good humor and bourbon. That's where she died, with her husband of 73 years by her side. So may she rest. Enjoy the show. We got a great one for you. Everyone looks good. I look a little academic.
No.
Like, look at me next to Ebony. Come here.
Don't
Just,
do that.
I know, but look. Here, I'll take you to your seat. I'm the usher.
She's the usher with great lipstick.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
I think I borrowed your lipstick. And this is to...
Hold on a second. Can someone please write in right now to explain to me, how do you think you borrowed something of
Because it's not
someone
my
else?
lipstick, but it's in my drawer.
What? You take stuff all the time.
No, I don't think it's mine.
It's not yours.
I don't think it is.
For it.
Is it this pink one?
Yes.
I have it. It's in my drawer. I am a little klepto. I take a lot of stuff. She's absolutely right. But when you look like an usher, what are you going to do?
But she loses a lot of stuff too.
I do.
Which is a plus, because hanging around her, you get to just follow behind
like
her.
breadcrumbs.
Just follow behind.
That's hilarious. No, I'm studying Buddhism to put things back where they belong. Okay. Everyone just laughed because they know my reputation. And she just made that.
For everything.
Okay. Buddhism is for everything. So guys, write us in. We have a great show for you. Can't wait to hear. Chime in. Talking about Barbara Bush and any memories. And also anyone who, if you've had parents, grandparents, anyone that's died and it's either been a good experience or different from 10 years ago, or if you're in hospice or a nurse or a doctor, we would absolutely love to hear from you. How has comfort care and the act of dying changed in the last 10 years? Again, it was very not talked about. And now even Barbara Bush is saying, I give up medical care and I died with dignity. So we'd love to hear your opinion and any personal stories. Bye, guys.
About that.
Today on Daily Blast Live, remembering America's first grandmother. Millions mourn the passing of Barbara Bush. We'll look back at her life and legacy and her decision to end medical treatment in her final days. Terror at 30,000 feet. A beloved mother of two killed on a Southwest Airlines after an engine blows apart. Could anything have been done to prevent her death? And should we be worried about flying? Plus, the president and the porn star. Donald Trump weighs in on Stormy Daniels' sketch of the thug she says threatened her. We'll show you how the president is swinging back. And the reunion you did not see coming on Roseanne. Wow. Daily Blast Live starts right now.
Welcome to Daily Blast Live. Let's get right into it. New audio from the cockpit of a deadly Southwest flight. It was of the seconds that followed a mid-air engine explosion. Listen, and then we'll talk.
Yeah, we have a part of the aircraft missing, so we're going to need to slow down a bit.
Southwest 1380, speed is your discretion. Maintain at any altitude above 3,000 feet.
Okay, could you have the medical meet us there on the runway as well? We've got injured passengers.
Injured passengers, okay, and is your airplane physically on fire?
No, it's not on fire, but part of it's missing. They said there was a hole and someone went out.
Oh my gosh, wow. The 56-year-old pilot that you just heard is being called a hero. Yes, she is. Her name is Tammy Jo Schultz, and she is one of the first female Navy fighter pilots. Jennifer Reardon, a 43-year-old mother of two from Albuquerque, was killed after she was almost sucked out of a blown-out window following the explosion, and fellow passengers rushed to help drag her back inside the plane. Investigators say one of the engine's fan blades broke off during the flight and are focusing on wear and tear as a possible cause. Now, joining us on the phone is Sherry Sears. She was one row ahead of the woman who died. Sherry, first, I have to ask, how are you doing?
I'm very grateful. I'm pretty banged up physically, sore, emotionally. It's pretty rough, pretty traumatic.
I can't imagine. I'm so sorry that you experienced that. Did you feel the explosion?
Yes, ma'am. When the engine exploded, the plane dipped strongly to the left, and that's when the window was pierced out and the oxygen mask dropped at that time.
What did you see beside the oxygen mask dropping in front of you?
Again, I was just one row ahead, so what I could see from my seat, now picture I'm on the far right window over the right wing. I could just see all oxygen masks, dropping, and everything was shaking and moving. And it was shortly after that you started to see debris. I would assume it was insulation, flying in the aircraft, in the cabin.
Oh, my goodness. Sherry, how has this traumatic experience, how is it affecting you right now?
I'm very shook up. It's surreal. Very grateful, very blessed to be here, to have another opportunity to tell the people that I care and love greatly how I feel. It's just amazing that I was a part of that. I was actually on that plane. So grateful for my family and my daughter.
Oh, wow, Sherry. Thank you so much for sharing your eyewitness account. We are happy that you are safe, and I'm so sorry that you had to go through that. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Wow.
That was rough to listen to. I can't even imagine what she's feeling, what she's going through, it gets me choked up a little bit,
All right. Well, we gotta, we have to really start looking at people that have experienced trauma like herself. I mean, I'm sure she's still in a state of shock, even though she expressed herself so eloquently. We need to make sure that all the people on that plane, not only their physical injuries heal, but also their mental injuries, because that's going to stay with them for the rest of their lives.
And appreciate every day.
Right.
Appreciate every day. Because you never know what tomorrow brings.
She said that it makes her appreciate every moment with her daughter.
Just the woman who died, Jennifer Reardon, and just the extraordinary circumstances surrounding that. Her family did ask in her memory, please remember to always be kind, loving, caring, and sharing.
Yeah. Well, we'll do that, and we'll let's dedicate today's show to her and to her memory. She seemed like she was an outstanding person, and not only rose to a high rank in her profession, but it just, from what I read about her, she's just adored as a human being. And it's just, life is it's random and it's unfair. And I think once you start to wrap your head around that concept, it's at least okay to move on. Some horrible things happen to good people, and there's no explanation, and sometimes you just feel like there's no justice. But I just look at the years that she lived and all the lives that I'm sure she touched, and it was worth it. And I'm sure if she had to do over again, she'd do the same thing.
Wow, Jennifer Reardon. All right, exhale. Moving on, former FBI Director James Comey's press tour, well, it continues. After the release of his new book, A Higher Loyalty, yesterday, Comey faced tough questions this morning from Savannah Guthrie on the Today Show. And last night, Comey...
Why, in all of those situations, did James Comey, of all people, not stand up to the president?
Well, I guess the question is, what does standing up mean in that context? I stared at him, didn't blink, didn't make a sound. If he didn't know it was inappropriate, why did he kick out the vice president and my boss, the attorney general?
And last night, Comey made his first late night appearance. Yes, he did, on the Colbert Show. We've got the clip. Watch.
He's tweeted at me probably 50 times. I've been gone for a year. I'm like a breakup he can't get over. He wakes up in the morning.
Is this surreal seeing a former FBI director on a late-night talk show? Is he shredding his credibility, in your opinion?
No. I think we have something, especially that we're seeing with public figures, that we can just basically call a second life. Public figures aren't, retiring to a law practice or to teach at a university after they leave public office. People are going off and making money, doing press tours, doing book tours, doing speaking tours, and I think that this is his way of getting his face out there, getting his name out there.
He's making light of some very serious situations, Al.
I don't know if he's making light of it.
I think he's chuckling, talking about Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump and PP-gate and all of that. That's alarming to me. He's isolated not only the left with Hillary Clinton, but now the right too.
And I think that's why he's talking so much, because he has to evaluate his place in history. Because 538 had the election for Hillary, and they showed that once he released that Hillary was under investigation for her emails, that swung. It was the first time 538 was wrong about an election in recent memory, and it's because now he has to, for the rest of his life, he might be the figure that swung the election for this president, no matter how you feel about him.
Well, honestly,
he's defended himself.
I think that we're missing really the subtext of a higher loyalty. I think the highest loyalty is to yourself. And at the end of the day, this was a man who did dedicate himself. He was a public servant. The bipartisan sentiment has been that no one likes him, so at least people are agreeing on that. But at the end of the day, do you want to be liked, or do you want to be able to lay your head down at night and feel like what you've done is the right thing to the best of your ability?
Does he really think it's the right thing for him, or is he just trying to sell books?
I think he's trying to sell books. You said make his place in history, and I know he had something to do with the election. But in 2 weeks, another person's going to come out with another book, and you're not going to remember this. His press tour is going to be over, and I think it's going on late night shows talking about our presidency of what's going on right now. I mean, we all make jokes. We're going to have stories later in the show about jokes. But how is the rest of the world viewing us? Our FBI director, a porn star? I mean, it never ends. I mean, it's a joke. I agree with you. But, I mean, people are just selling books at this point.
And speaking of a porn star, an adult film star, rather, President Trump is calling Stormy Daniels' composite sketch, well, a quote, a total con job. This was the sketch that we showed you yesterday of the man Stormy Daniels say threatened her over her alleged affair with Trump. Now, today, Trump tweeted a sketch years later about a non-existent man, a total con job, playing the fake news media for fools, but they know it. And he retweeted this side by side, okay, take a look at it, of the sketch and a picture of Stormy with another man who is identified as her ex. Stormy's lawyer just shot back tweeting, "There's nothing better in litigation than having a completely unhinged, undisciplined opponent who is prone to shooting himself in the foot." So can we go back to that sketch again? Because I have to say, even though I've been defending Stormy Daniels, that sketch, can we look at that sketch?
Yeah, Sam, there's a lot of white men.
No.
It's going to look like
that looks just like her ex. Can we be honest
here? We pulled up a bunch of pictures yesterday of people that look like.
That looks just like her ex. That's alarming to me.
Okay, she probably dates white men. That's a white man. And so far, it's right on track.
Not all white men look the same.
I didn't say, but we pulled up 4 pretty easily yesterday.
I think that looks just like him.
Okay, there's a lot of guys. I think that looks like a lot of guys. He has an angular face. If you pulled up a lot of male models, I guarantee you he looks like a lot of them. I'd say he looks like a plumber from Jersey.
Well, I'm sure plumbers from Jersey look like that.
Are there, Erica?
I'm sure there are.
Actually.
All right.
Well, I'm just going to get back to the sketch because yesterday was ridiculous when, they released it on The View and they did all that. Don't even get me started with the lawyer and things like that. But it's just like, I mean, how many times has this been said? If Trump would just be quiet and let this thing play out, you know what I mean? This was already thought was the last step for Stormy and her lawyer. I thought this was embarrassing. I thought the Gmail account was embarrassing. But if he would just let it go and leave it alone, the more he tweets back, the more steam they have to keep pushing forward.
Jeff, this was out of the news cycle, and then he made that comment on Air Force One when they said, "Do you have any knowledge of Stormy Daniels saying being paid?" And he goes, "No, I don't." Once he said those few words, it put her back in the news cycle, and here we are. Now his lawyer's office has been raided, and things change. If he had just kept his mouth quiet, just like you said, we wouldn't be talking about this.
Maybe you should be advising him, Jeff.
Yeah,
the Schroeder effect.
Ebony Steele, what's coming up on Daily Blast Live?
Well, police released new recordings in the death of Stephon Clark, an unarmed black man killed by cops. What do they reveal about the case? And listen to this.
Killmonger was right. Or Ben Carson is in the sunken place.
Did former President Obama just say that? It's the viral video that's got the nation buzzing. And also coming up, Barbara Bush, former First Lady and America's first grandmother. Her death has many of you thinking about the final days of your loved ones. We'll share your comments next.
Hey guys, so I just wanted to continue on with the Barbara Bush passing away. If you guys didn't know, if you're just tuning in, we spent a lot of the pre-show talking about it. We found out live on air that Barbara Bush had passed at the age of 92. She was drinking a bourbon that day, and she crossed over with her husband of 73 years by her side. That's the longest in presidential history. Few facts about Barbara Bush. She's the only second woman ever to be married to a president and mother to a president. Abigail Adams was also married to John Adams, of course, the second president, and mother John Quincy Adams, who became the sixth president. If you were anywhere around in the 90s, Barbara Bush, with her 3 pearls and her jackets and that shock of white hair, was the first grandmother. Everybody saw her as DC's grandmother. She was known as the enforcer, super strong, hilariously dry humor, very, very funny. But imagine being in a family in which you have 2 U.S. presidents, and the one you're scared of is the mother, it's the grandmother. So she ruled that family. She was the example of what a matriarch does. She kept that family together, and she was well beloved by everyone in that family, and we want to wish the whole Bush family our thoughts and prayers. We also thought it was interesting that she gave up any medical treatment and died on her own terms, which, to be honest, if you know anything about Barbara Bush, is very Barbara Bush of her. She was one of the first leaders in literacy advocacy for low-income schools. She gave books and said these people also need to read. It's not just for the wealthy, and was enormously influential in terms of literacy. That's her big platform as First Lady. The other thing she did, I can't ever forget, is holding a baby infected with HIV. And she told people, just like Diana, you can't get AIDS or HIV from being in physical contact. And if you are in the 90s and a woman with the pearls and the Conservative Party is holding a baby and telling you that, and you are infected or know someone, that's an enormously revolutionary big deal. So our thoughts and prayers to someone that really represented class, she also was very outspoken and independent about her own issues. She was anti-Trump, she was pro-choice, she spoke her mind, and she was a First Lady with class all the way. So we found out live on air, we found out she gave up medical care, and she died in her home the way she wanted to. And if anyone out there is in hospice or a hospice nurse, we'd love to hear how that goes, basically. So much love to the Bush family. Thanks, guys.
Welcome back. Plans are being made right now for Saturday's funeral of former First Lady Barbara Bush. She died yesterday at the age of 92 with her husband of 73 years, former President George H.W. Bush, holding her hand. Let's take a look back at her extraordinary life.
I, George Herbert Walker Bush, do solemnly swear
to see that same fellow that I used to drive around in Little League carpools and I used to yell at to please pick up his room, to see him as president is truly amazing.
Barbara Bush's death comes just days after her family announced she was no longer seeking medical treatment. And Sam, this touches so many of us who have elderly parents or have lost them.
Yes, Ebony, it's such an emotional and difficult discussion. Yeah. Let's begin with our DBL Nation, Al, because we have a lot of people writing in as we speak.
Right. Our friend April writes us, and she just says she lost her dad in October. He had cancer and died in the hospital. He was ready to go. And as somebody that lost his dad almost 2 years ago, you know, my dad was. He told us that he did not want to be resuscitated, and I was prepared to honor that decision. You know, allowing people to die with dignity is just as important as letting them live with it.
Absolutely. Ethan Halhowski writes, feel strange about people who decide it is over for them. Ethan, we understand that this is something that you're going through right now, and our hearts light and love to you and your family. We experienced this at the end of the year last year with our Aunt Fran, who passed away, and it really brought back to the forefront the importance of stating what your wishes are. And this was a woman who was so prepared, and I really believe that she decided that everything was in order, even the vet visit to the dog before we brought him back. So I think it's so important to have these conversations.
Oh, a directive is very important.
And it makes it easy on your family, easier on your family too.
It's a big deal. Families get torn apart.
It's uncomfortable.
When there are not things in paper, families can be torn apart between money, property, you know, end of life care. So it's very important.
Let's get this last one in. Brandy Sprung writes, hospice was great for my grandma. She was able to pass on her farm that she lived on forever. They made her comfortable and able to go on her own. And I would agree with that. My grandmother had hospice care, but one of them passed away in our home that we grew up in, and then the other one was in hospice care. But it depends on the workers. God bless those people who do take care of the elderly, because they are, I mean, so many people are busy. We feel like you don't have time for them. They're there for them 24/7, you know, and we want to be there for our families, but God bless those people who do take care of the elderly.
And I'll just say, it's difficult. We're all scared to die. Let's be honest. No one wants to talk about it. Let's just go get a beer and we'll talk about it tomorrow. You need to do that. You need to have a will in place. You need to have things in place for your family to make sure that they don't end up dealing with the mess once you go.
Absolutely. And during the break on Facebook Live, we will discuss the legacy of Barbara Bush more, so please join us there. We are live. Digital producer Kelly Schubert with news at this moment.
Yep, it's tax day again. And if you waited until the last minute, you are in luck. We told you first on Daily Blast Live that the IRS website was having major issues accepting returns yesterday. Now, as you can see, the IRS is giving you until midnight tonight to file your return. DBL Nation, tell us, have you filed your tax return yet? Sam, how about you?
Nope. Extension.
Same.
Stop telling on yourself.
Why?
No, you can. It's
you can legally extend till November.
No, I just keep it on the low.
I just don't pay my taxes. There you go.
Yes,
that was a joke, everybody. That was a joke. I got the extension.
Coming up on Daily Blast Live.
Everything is better when it's free, right? Including drinks. We've got some easy tips on scoring free cocktails the next time you're at the bar. And Al is searching the web for the craziest viral videos he can find and giving his 2 cents, maybe 3. Al Sounds Off is next.
Okay. Hi, I'm Tara Setmayer, here guest hosting Daily Blast Live this week, and I get the honor of honoring former First Lady Barbara Bush, who passed away last night. She was a national treasure. The outpouring of love and affection for her is coming through from all aspects around the country, including on social media. I just wanted to read off some of the well wishes to the family and remembrances of Barbara Bush. Here, Barbara Streisand, sending my sincere condolences and prayers to the Bush family. We have Donald Trump. Flotus, Melania, and I join the nation in celebrating the life of Barbara Bush. Former President Barack Obama, our statement on the passing of former First Lady Barbara Bush. I encourage everyone to read it. It's really, really heartwarming. We don't have time to read it all, but you guys can. Bill Clinton, this is especially important because it was a hard loss when her husband lost to him in 1992. So they've forged a bond over the years with their charity work. So coming from Bill Clinton, Barbara Bush was a remarkable woman. She had grit and grace, brains and beauty. She was fierce and feisty in support of her family and friends, her country and her causes. She showed us what an honest, vibrant, full life looks like. Hillary and I mourn her passing and bless her memory. Beautiful.
J.J. Watt plays for the Houston Texans. The Bushes lived in Houston. Rest in peace, Mrs. Bush. You are a beautiful light in this world, and I am forever thankful for your friendship. Western reports the First Lady has the power to make people think. In 1989, Barbara Bush visited a Washington hospice where abandoned infants with their AIDS virus were being cared for. Some folks were ignorant and thought you could get AIDS from touching someone.
Welcome back to Daily Blast Live. It's time now for Al Sounds Off, when Al Jackson goes off on the wildest stories he could find. Let's get right into this, Al. From the runway to your closet, Calvin Klein just released $390 gloves. Don't worry, they're not sold out.
Yeah, Jeff, I'm not worried about this. Usually when you use rubber gloves like this, you're cleaning out your, your sink. Yeah. This case, $400, they're cleaning out your wallet. And honestly, guys like me and you, we see rubber gloves at our age, we get a little nervous. I honestly think this is the silliest thing I've ever seen. Why are you showing me these silly videos?
Because, I don't know, I mean, idiots must just wear these, you know what I mean?
These stupid gloves, Jeff?
Al, what do you...
Let's just go to the next video.
All right. Last night on Love at First Flight, the couples head to Sin City, and one man's patience gets tested not once, not twice. You get the point. Roll the clip.
One lap dance, whatever. Then the second one happened, and then the third time it happened. I was feeling pretty uncomfortable at that point. And then that's when I guess the fourth time happened. I'm basically done.
There you go.
Yeah, this guy was making it rain at the strip club, but it was with his tears. Dude, yeah, 4 lap dances. You're at the strip club. You're not at the Christian Science reading room. You should have known where you were. And honestly, dude, it's like, they say there's no sex in the champagne room. In this case, for his case, let's hope he's right. Let's go to our last one.
All right, if you want to take Instagramming your food to the next level, head to the Egg House, a place dedicated to creating perfect pics with everyone's favorite food. Eggs.
Not my favorite food. Jeff, I hate eggs. Why would you play this? First of all, this egg house is silly. The only house I went in my life better have waffle in front of it, all right? Yeah. That's the only place that's important. And finally, I'm going to tell you this. Anybody that went here, it's silly, so yoke's on you.
Oh,
get it?
Al. Yeah, I get it. How many egg puns you got?
About a dozen.
All right, there you go. That's Al Sounds Off, everybody, and this is comedian Al Jackson. We are live. Tori has a new trending story coming in hot.
I sure do. Food and Wine asked bartenders their tips for scoring free drinks. Everybody listen up. Here are some insider tricks. First, announce you're celebrating a big event. Earn a raise or propose to the love of your life. Tell the bartender your news. They might just want to celebrate with a free cocktail. Next, show up at the bar when it's slow. They might just want to comp you a drink for keeping them company on a slow night. Lastly, bring your office in for happy hour. Bartenders say bringing your coworkers in is a great way to get free drinks on your next visit. And as always, please tip your bartenders and your TV hosts. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Tori. Coming up on Daily Blast Live, the defending Super Bowl champs may not have their starting quarterback. Uh-oh. And up next, a mom steps up and sings for her daughter when she gets stage fright. The video is going viral, and we got the mom right here on Daily Blast Live next.
Hey guys, so we are continuing on our remembrance of Barbara Bush, the first grandmother, if you guys all remember that. This is an amazing story. I'm going to introduce my co-host, Tara Setmayer. Tara, we're going to go through this story. Hello, my love.
Yes, we'll be on the other side.
Yeah, come to the other side,
come
my
on
love.
the other side.
So what's so interesting is we were talking about the way she died, which is through hospice and comfort, and she didn't have any medical treatment at the end. She had a bourbon and her husband by her side. Look at what this story is. Tell us, read this for us, Tara.
So what's a side of Barbara Bush that I don't think a lot of people got to see was how compassionate she was. I mean, she was a tough cookie. Everyone knew that. She was self-deprecating, witty, and actually a really smart political mind.
So smart.
But this photo is especially touching because when she was First Lady, she took on the issue of not only homelessness and literacy, but children with AIDS and the AIDS virus at a time when the American people were rather ignorant about how you could contract the disease. And a lot of people believe that you could get AIDS by just touching someone, which we obviously
zoom in
know,
on this right here, Alex.
which we obviously
this
know
is the
not
moment
true.
right here, yeah.
So when she decided to visit this AIDS, children AIDS ward, it was a hospice in Washington, D.C. The fact she picked up and embraced this baby that had AIDS as if it were her own grandchild was a powerful moment for people. I get goosebumps now just talking about it.
I mean, it's revolutionary.
And it didn't end there because there was an adult AIDS advocate there who said, you know what, adults with AIDS need love too, and she went ahead and she hugged him on camera at a press conference as well, which was another watershed moment for a first lady to hug a gay man with AIDS in this time. So,
and this time was when that administration before them wouldn't even say the word AIDS.
Right.
You have no idea how revolutionary this moment of touching a baby.
Yep. One of the brilliant moments and touching moments of Barbara Bush's life. It just exemplified what an amazing, extraordinary woman she was.
Get full hair instantly or get your money back. Call or click right.
Welcome back to Daily Blast Live. A lot of you, DBL Nation, are commenting on the death of Barbara Bush. We got Laura Lundy Lucera on Facebook. Prayers for the family of Barbara Bush. May God give them comfort and peace with their loss. Janie Wright on YouTube. She was also very fierce about defending her family. Do not cross her family or else. I also want to... we found out that one of our viewers, Diane Sawyer, her father, was that right, Tori? Her father, Charles Schubert, passed away last night in hospice. So, Diane, we are sorry for your loss, and may he rest in peace. All right. Wow.
Yeah, but Diane's been with us since day one, so appreciate her.
Here's what's coming up on Daily Blast Live after the break.
Shocking recordings released in the death of Stephon Clark, an unarmed black man killed by police. How long did it take for someone to finally give him medical attention? Plus, fake news warning.
We're entering an era in which our enemies can make it look like anyone is saying anything at any point in time.
Think this video is real? You won't believe who's behind it. And what's poutine? Jeff and Al used their bellies to answer that question in a two-man crew. So Diane, thank you for writing in. Everyone's been writing in wonderful stories about hospice nurses being a godsend. So we just want to give our prayers and thoughts to
really
anyone at hospice. Can we all bow down? Can we all bow down?
Yes, it is strange.
It is.
Like, for a human being to be wired like that.
To be so altruistic is incredible.
Yeah, the people that were at my grandmother's hospice were...
They just save you and the family.
Right.
Coming up, we have an amazing video, guys. This is breathtaking. It came out yesterday. Have you guys all seen it? The video? So it's President Obama, and I'm not going to give this away, but there's something off about it, and the person who created it is someone you all know very, very well. Actually, an Academy Award nominee and winner. So what this video does is teach a message so quickly to so many people, because Obama is so globally well known, that this will literally trick you. So I don't know if you guys have seen it. Have you seen it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Did you think it was, how did you think about it? Did you think this is from Obama?
It could change everything. For a split second, yes, and then I could tell it wasn't his voice, but still for a split second,
But if you
I was
had
like,
just
what?
right?
Oh yeah,
because
and
it's
I
what
could see how other people.
If you didn't know we were doing this story, you would have
thought
that was real.
And this is Obama, guys, saying something. I'm not going to give it away, but insane, and we find out how real fake news is. So stay tuned. It's gonna this could change how we deal with the truth and how we deal with the press, because it is in Adobe Photoshop now. So let us know how you guys think. And again, to Diane, our thoughts, our prayers to Charles Schubert. He was a flirt. He was a good man, and we wish you all of the best. Thank you, Diane. We appreciate you.
You're fantastic.
Welcome back to Daily Blast Live. Let's get right into it. New video today showing the fatal police shooting of unarmed black man Stephon Clark. The Sacramento police have released dozens of new audio and video recordings showing that it took at least 6 minutes to administer first aid to Clark, and a coroner's report shows it took him 10 minutes to die. The recordings also show that police muted their body cameras several times during the aftermath. We put together a few moments from the new tapes, and we warn you that they may be disturbing.
Good, yeah. Can you bring your mask? Rescue mask? Rescue mask? I got him. Go ahead and go with him. Wake up, breathe for me. Did you fire? Yes. Come over here. Both of you did?
Are you muted or on?
Muted, but I can...
Muted.
Wow. They seemed really shaken up by the dead kid in the backyard, didn't they? They seemed really disturbed. They seemed panicked, like that doesn't happen all the time. When we talk about black bodies not being worth anything, it's the cavalier attitude. Would you be able to tell if they had just gotten a cup of coffee or if they had just shot a father of two to death? Was there any difference in their demeanor? When people talk about how, well, there's equal and white people get shot too, that casual interaction that they just had shows you how comfortable they are with dead black bodies. That's all it is, and that's what it sounds like. And they're allowed to mute and unmute at their discretion.
What do you think about that?
I mean,
about the muting and unmuting, because I did look into it.
Officers can protect other police officers.
Protocol. I did look into that, but since then, because of the backlash and the pushback, Sacramento, the police department, they are going to announce when they mute, so there's a little loophole there, but they are not going to follow that same protocol that they were before unless it was a situation that could protect someone like a sexual assault.
Well, tell Stefan Clark's kids that.
I agree, believe me.
They'll be very excited to hear that.
You know, at the end of the day, it still comes down to the discretion of the officers, you know, what's sensitive information and what isn't.
Eric, I'm sorry, the discretion of people that just shot somebody dead in the back. Okay.
Well, it's a child. I think it also paints the picture because everyone keeps saying when you think your life is in danger, and the idea that this is something that's a reaction to the officers believing that their lives are in danger, and you would expect, as Al said, a more heightened sensitivity, a more heightened situation, and it doesn't appear to be that way at all. It's like, what do you really say when you're not shocked by something? I mean, the fact that there were 6 minutes that lapsed, and this was a young man who was at least alive, as we know, on the ground for 10 minutes, that no effort was made. In fact, he was handcuffed before any medical assistance was given to him. So I think we've came as chattel. We've continued to be chattel. And until everyone really understands what chattel is, and how that really ingrains itself in a community and with racial sensitivities, I don't think that we make very much progress on that.
Yeah, I really, I'm speechless. I think about what the parents and the grandparents may think after hearing this.
Are you surprised when you see that?
No, after everything CNN, I helped.
I'm surprised.
Well, I covered Michael Brown and Trayvon Martin and the girl, her name's escaping me, from McKinney, Texas, that was mishandled. This was a 13-year-old in McKinney. So am I surprised? No. To know that he was alive for 10 minutes, I just immediately think about my daughter Sophie lying dead on the lawn, bleeding out for 10 minutes, and police officers who could have saved her life, who took her life, did not do anything and seemed very casual and cavalier about it. And that alone makes my blood boil head to toe.
Yeah, that surprises me. Do you think this video in any sense could be a lesson, a learning lesson of what goes on really, and that we all need to learn from this together, because this is what's going on?
But it's been going on forever.
But we have videotape of this, like, step by step, showing you, because you know what I mean? You could say it. It might not mean something to people, but when you watch this video and see how unaffected they are by it, I mean,
But many would argue and say that's common protocol for a police officer.
Fancy seeing you here?
I agree, but many will argue, believe me, I had this conversation during the Mike Brown, all of it. People will say police officers are supposed to remain calm. They're trained to be calm. They're not supposed to be elevated.
But the irony of the situation is, if they remain calm and really assess the situation, then why did 20 rounds go into an unarmed weapon?
Believe me,
would you go to a surgeon with shaky hands?
Nope.
Would you fly with a pilot who is visually impaired?
No.
Why do we have people who are so trigger happy actually manning and policing the streets?
Yeah, and also, if they were really calm, why didn't they administer CPR? They saw an injured body. If they were this calm, why didn't they administer CPR? Why didn't they administer CPR when they shot Tamir Rice dead in a playground by himself and then got back in the car?
There's absolutely no excuse, and I hope to God that we have police reform and this does not continue to happen.
The police are doing their job. We don't need reform. This is what they're there for, to put black men in jail. What do you think? It's just some kind of statistical anomaly that there are only black men in jail? Do you know any of your white girlfriends that have ever been in jail?
I do not, and believe me,
absolutely. And is there any white women in here that know any of the white women in jail besides the women from Orange is the New Black? That's why that's such a hit show, because they can't believe that a white woman would be in jail. They're like, look at this. This is awesome. She's playing cards with black girls. Because if there couldn't be a show about a black man going to jail and make it a comedy, because it's so common.
But Al, there's white women in jail.
But
You know,
I can't compare it.
No, you can't compare it. But I mean, we can't make that blanket statement.
For the number of black men, 1 in 3 black men will be in jail. That means me. That means Chris. Or Leo, one of us 3 will be in jail at one point in our lives. My father went to jail. My uncle is still in jail. Like, who else in here has anybody in jail? Is everybody got all these uptight citizens in their family? You don't have that one shady uncle that's never had a job but can always come through at Christmas? Where the hell is he at? Where the hell are all these white collar criminals? Where are they at?
Yeah. No,
who went to jail for the Big Short?
And
who
I get
went to jail
the
for the real
frustration,
estate
man.
scam?
I get your frustration.
Where are they?
If you want to learn more of what Al is saying, you can watch a documentary done by Ava DuVernay called 13th.
They won't.
It will underscore everything you're
They
saying.
won't.
We are live. Digital producer Brett Forrest with news at this moment.
New England Patriots quarterback Tom Brady has not yet committed to playing football next year. The 41-year-old has not participated in any offseason training. The surprising news comes from ESPN insider Adam Schefter, who believes the NFL MVP will return despite no verbal confirmation. This as the future of his teammate Rob Gronkowski also remains in limbo. Gronk has hinted he might not return to instead test the waters as a movie star. And just in case, the Patriots are still expected to pick a quarterback in next week's draft.
Thank you so much, Brett. Roseanne is bringing back a fan favorite. Last night saw the return of Johnny Galecki's character, David. Take a look.
They kept everything exactly the same as it was when you guys were kids.
It's a decorating choice called poverty.
And the plot revolved around Roseanne orchestrating David's return behind Darlene's back. That's right. So I think if we could discuss, I mean, your children are getting older, Al.
Yes.
Have you ever meddled in their lives, or would you once they become teenagers or even young adults?
Yeah.
Really?
I kind of don't want that. You know, if there's somebody in my daughter's dating I don't like, I'll pull some strings. I'll do something.
Pull some strings.
I'll get them away.
Erica, has your dad ever meddled?
No, you know my dad has a very staunch rule about that. He does not get into our affairs.
What about when you were a
you got
teen?
yourself into it, you get yourself out.
What about when you were a teenager?
Oh, no. It was a lesson. Everything was, you better find the lesson, you better find it fast.
My parents never meddled, but they did know, like, if there was, like, troublemakers in the neighborhood or people known for getting in trouble, if I was hanging around with them, they let me know about it. You know what I mean?
My parents never meddled. Are you going to be a meddler?
Probably. Probably, yeah.
Ebony has a trending story coming in hot, and you'll want to grab some tissues.
Yes, Sam. A viral video captures a very special moment between a mom and her daughter at a talent show after the young girl stopped singing because of stage fright. And she did just that. Joining us is Supermom Shay Washington. Thank you so much for talking to us. Now, this video is all over the internet. I just have to ask, what went through your mind when you saw your daughter Michaela on stage struggling a little bit?
Just looking at her facial expressions, it seemed like she felt like she was gonna fail. So I was like, I can't let my baby feel like she's a failure. So I got up on stage with my sweatpants on and I was like, yes, I have to get up here and do basically what I think any mom would have done. It was all to support Michaela, to let her know that, you know, you have to persevere and overcome your obstacles. Even though you forgot the words, still just go on and do what you have to do.
What did Michaela say to you, you know, when you guys got back home?
She said I was a hero, but I was just like, girl, I'm just doing what I gotta do for you.
Thank you for talking to us and inspiring not just mothers, but everyone to rise up in times of maybe when we see somebody else struggling. We thank you so much and we honor you. And coming up on Daily Blast Live, a small Jewish population joins forces to make a big impact. We'll tell you about Mitzvah Day and how it's helping the community. And up next, Al and Jeff are revving up your appetites as they discover what is poutine. It's a two-man crew you don't want to miss.
Hey guys, we are up. So today's been kind of a hard show, right? And I'm with you guys. It's been kind of sad. We're gonna lift you up like that mother. Wasn't that amazing? I asked Jason if he was crying, but he just had something in his eye. You know, he doesn't have emotion, so it's totally okay. What's going on with this Bethany Frankel?
Yeah, so she is trending right
First of all,
now.
nice pop collar.
Thank you.
What's going on, Connor?
So Bethany Frankel is trending right now because you may see her when you're swiping right on your dating app.
Tinder.
So
She's
she is
interested.
on Bumble, Tinder, and The League currently.
She's probably on Raya too. If you guys know Raya, you have to be rich enough to be on there.
You have to be like kind of famous.
Yeah,
Is that
totally
right?
famous.
However, the interesting thing is she's not actually dating. She's doing research for her own dating app that she'll be coming out with soon.
Skinny girl dating. Oh, does this woman not have a stopping button? That's brilliant.
She doesn't, I know.
By the way, she's probably also dating. If you know Bethany Frankel, she likes men.
Her raps claim she's not using them to date. She's only using them for research.
I love the air quotes that came all over like confetti. Connor could be on Raya, I feel like. He's famous.
Oh.
All right, but he's a loving. Nico is amazing. What's going on, Kelly? You look so first lady.
You know what's funny? Is this.
That's hilarious. Look at Kelly.
Not intentional.
Not intentional. What's going on?
Cannes Film Festival is trending right now because the jury was just announced, and this is actually
guess,
a
more
revolutionary
women.
year. More women on the jury. 5-4. And so Kate Blanchett is actually the president of the jury this year.
Wow.
We have Kristen Stewart serving as one of the judges. That's a strong
Am I seeing Ava DuVernay right there?
Ava
Heck
DuVernay
yes!
is also a judge. And then the rest is an international panel. So it's really kind of interesting culmination.
I mean, listen, because at some point, I remember when Jessica Chastain, do you remember this moment, came up and said, I am very underwhelmed and underrepresented by watching this Cannes Fest. She called it out. So maybe this will be almost like the Academy Awards, getting a little bit more color in there, some diversity in there. If anyone's going to be diverse, it's Cannes, you'd think.
Yeah, and also we see Me Too spreading internationally now. It's not just an American thing, so I think they're paying attention to that, and they're very aware of it, and that's why we're seeing this represented in the judges.
Guys, if they can do it, we can.
Can, too.
Did you hear it? No one heard it. They had headphones on, that's why.
It's time for Two-Man Crew. Today, our own Jeff and Al head to a pop-up poutineery. So what's poutine anyways? Let's find out.
What's up, guys? Jeff and Al here, two-man crew. Today, we're going international, right, Al?
That's right, we're at Air Canada's pop-up poutineery. Yeah.
What'd you call me?
No, poutine. It's an iconic Canadian dish, and you're about to have it right now.
What is poutine?
Poutine is a classic Canadian dish with French fries, gravy, and cheese curds. We have created 9 unique dishes that's aligning with our Asia-Pacific market.
So fly the Canadian way.
Wait, does that mean that everybody has to say A after everything they say on the flight?
Yes.
A.
This originated in the 1950s in Quebec. So what we start with here is going to be some fries.
Some fries, eh?
Some cheese curds. You got the honors there.
All right.
And then we're going to go in with the beef gravy here.
All right.
Sam, was the person who invented this happen to be hungover by any chance?
Possibly. That's probably a good possibility.
No. We got some twists on the original poutine,
Yeah,
right?
so we actually have 10 different dishes that we're serving up here. We have 2 right here, the Shanghai and the tempeh.
The proof is in the poutine.
Call this one the Brisbane. Fries, smoked cheddar cheese, barbecued sausage gravy.
All right, Sam, this is our final poutine dish here.
So we call this the Soul. Potato chips, cheese curds, kimchi, fermented cabbage right on top.
Best friends forever. All right.
All right. Kimchi is just a secret friend that sneaks up on your taste buds like, oh, you didn't know I was coming, did you?
All right, Al. I'm getting pooped from all this poutine.
Oh, man, I don't blame you, but you know what, in the end, it's all gravy, baby.
It sure is, buddy. Two-man crew.
That's right.
International style.
Yeah.
That's right, and guess what, guys? We have some classic flavored poutine for you right here. Fries, cheese curds, and gravy, the way nature intended it. I'm gonna have a bite.
My husband loves poutine. I have to pass because I know there's meat in the gravy.
And Erica, your husband's Canadian. Do you ever?
Oh yeah, you betcha.
Did you? Are you gonna learn? Do you ever make poutine for him?
Yeah, we're all about it.
That was a good accent, man. This stuff.
Jeff,
so simple.
What was your favorite one from yesterday?
Shanghai.
It was delicious.
Shanghai was my favorite.
All right, I'll be back.
Woo. Yeah, we will.
Thank you, Erica.
Yes, you will.
You want to keep talking about poutine?
Sure.
No.
No, we have a show to do. Kidding. Stu, our stage manager, just about freaked out. Thinking of planning a trip this summer, why not take a tasty road trip along some of the best food and drink trails in the U.S.? Ebony has the story, and it's coming in hot.
Yes, y'all saved me some of that, too. I'll be over there in just a second. PopSugar.com has a trending story about the best food and drink trails to explore. First stop, the Donut Trail in Butler County, Ohio. They say they have the largest number of donut shops per capita. Pick up a donut passport at one of the shops, then visit every stop and turn in a completed passport for a free Donut Trail t-shirt. Next up, the Buffalo Wings Trail in. You guessed it, it's in Buffalo, New York. Check out 12 stops, including one at the Anchor Bar, the birthplace of the original Buffalo Wing. Finally, Denver, Colorado. Check out the Denver Beer Trail. It's a beer lover's dream with 35 stops at some of the best city's breweries. I'm suddenly hungry for wings. How about y'all?
Well, we got some poutine for you, girl.
Yeah.
I know it ain't wings, but
I'm on my way.
Come get it. Come on.
Go ahead.
All right, enjoy
Go
it.
ahead.
Thank you,
Go
Air
ahead.
Canada. Enjoy
here comes story 2.
I would think there'd be like a barbecue trail somewhere in Texas, like Austin, Texas.
Yeah,
like
you're right.
Brisket. We got to find all these trails.
Who's going to a beer trail with 35 stops?
Right. I just need 2.
A lot of people.
Yeah, you're not making it to the end of that trail.
Most of them in this room.
We speak to the organizer of Mitzvah Day, an organization that has transformed hundreds of lives in Southern Carolina. And here at Daily Blast Live, we know you love your viral videos, and this one got over 3.5 million views on our DBL Facebook page. This guy isn't the only one wondering where spring is, huh? Where is it? Come on now.
Start your day the DBL way. Go to our website or Facebook page and subscribe to our free morning newsletter, The Breakfast Blast. It's delivered right to your inbox, and it gives you the latest headlines. Subscribe now and be in the know before your first cup of joe. Hey guys, so we are here with Brooke. She is angry with me. She's not looking at me or turning around because she's very busy and I'm taking over for her. If you guys are new to Daily Blast Live, these are our amazing digital producers, and Brooke has stories to keep you up, elevated, and happy, and also interested. So what's going on, Boo-Boo?
So this is announced today. Sarah Bareilles and Josh Groban.
I saw this.
They're hosting this year's Tony Awards, which is exciting. It's for Broadway and theater and everything fabulous.
I like, she's like, it's for Broadway. Tony's, that's amazing. Now,
Yeah.
Sarah Bareilles, of course, is in Waitress, and then she was in the John Legend, Jesus Christ Superstar, and of course, Josh Groban. If you guys ever want to follow someone funny on Twitter, he's hilarious. Is he the one who was, what was Josh Groban's biggest song?
You
rise me up. You rise me up.
Yes.
I can't tell you how many mothers love that song. When you're parking, you see a mom, you rise me up. Thank you guys, thank you. You raise me up? You raise me up. I'm glad I did it again.
Josh Groban super fan.
Justin Beatty loves Josh Groban.
And then we got young Brett.
What's going on over here? Young Brett, he's also mad at me, not speaking to me, turning around. Look how handsome you look, sir. When my mom came, and mom and dad, you guys saw, my mom goes, Tori, who's the young man in this suit? And I go, why is there a twinkle in your eye? That's Brett.
I never even got to meet your mom, so.
She wants to meet you. What's going on over here?
So yeah, I've actually been writing a couple breaking news stories here that we're gonna add in the show. So sorry you caught me a bit off guard here, but
no problem.
No worries. Yeah, we have a few things coming up regarding Puerto Rico. They have just more devastation coming back to the island.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then
I shouldn't have gone to Brett.
It's all right, but then on the lighter side, Tribeca Film Fest also started today, so it's going to be kind of a diverse array
I
of
wonder if
stories.
that's why De Niro was at SNL. You know, he's the creator of Tribeca, so I wonder if he's trying to push it.
I actually think he lives in Tribeca too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think
mean,
he actually is Tribeca.
Yeah, he is Tribeca. So he's always in the area.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Where'd you get your blouse? People are asking.
Oh.
It looks like a slip and slide.
It looks like Nana's blouse. She passed, but I know, it's really cute.
To Nana.
Today's Extra Shot is about giving back to the community. Daily Blast Live's parent company, Tegna, is honoring people who are making a difference. Today, it's the organizers of Mitzvah Day, a South Carolina group bettering their community.
In a big southern city with a small Jewish population, the only 2 synagogues in the Columbia, South Carolina area teamed up for Mitzvah Day. 150 volunteers help people of all faiths. Everything from making blankets, visiting senior citizens, and distributing blessing bags full of toiletries and bottled water. They also partnered with Food Not Bombs, an organization that helps get fresh produce that's not sold at stores to the people who need it most.
Lainey Cohen, creator of Mitzvah Day, joins us now. Lainey, what was your reaction when you learned you were chosen out of hundreds of organizations for the Make a Difference Day award?
Absolutely, completely speechless, which is relatively unheard of.
Tell me how Mitzvah Day has impacted your community.
We have brought people who otherwise would not have known each other in our small Jewish community together. And not only have they become friends and done things socially, but they've also gone out and done other volunteer into the community beyond Mitzvah Day. They meet regularly to do volunteer projects. Our children have taken a vested interest in spreading the love and in doing more community service volunteer projects.
You know, I was just going to ask you about the kids because so many kids were involved in Mitzvah Day. And as you said, they were continuing to make this happen. Have there been other acts of service that you've seen them inspired to do?
Oh my gosh. Well, beyond the Food Not Bombs, the kids have regularly within one of the Sunday school classes, one of the grades, 7th and 8th grades, have actually come together, and they now have gone out into different religions, different organizations, and have helped the needy, have helped continue to serve through Food Not Bombs, and it's just been wonderful.
Well, Lainey, you yourself are such an inspiration in everything that you're doing in the community. Congratulations on the success of Mitzvah Day, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored.
We are live. Digital producer Kelly Schubert with news at this moment.
Yeah, right now we're tracking what's happening in Bill Cosby's sex assault retrial. Today, jurors are hearing testimony from back in 2005 when the disgraced comedian said under oath that he had given young women Quaaludes. The testimony was read in his last trial too, which of course resulted in a hung jury. We've also just learned that the prosecution has partially closed their case, but they will be allowed to bring their final witness, a drug expert, to the stand tomorrow. We'll keep you updated.
A drug expert, there you go. I mean, his MO, his weapon of choice, and I know people in the 70s partied with Quaaludes, but his weapon of choice, I want to call it, was sedatives. And I think that speaks volumes considering what happened to those women.
And it sounds like it's winding down a bit, so we should know, you know, in the next couple of days, weeks coming forward, what's going to go on with Bill Cosby.
Lock him up. Here at Daily Blast Live, we love viral videos like this one, taken by Victor Valley Daily Press. Chief photographer James Quigg. Tumbleweeds take over neighborhoods in Victorville, California. Just outside Los Angeles, high winds blew them in, making for quite an unusual sight. That's amazing. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration.
Hey guys, so we just saw Mitzvah Day. She was one of a huge amount of winners for the day of Make a Difference Day. So what we want to do is show you some of the others. So take a look and go you guys! Daily Blast Live is honored to celebrate all of the winners of the Make a Difference Day initiative, driven by Arby's Points of Light and our parent company, Tegna. Every year, people make a big difference in their communities, all in a single day of volunteer service. In Pittsburgh, volunteers created art kits and collected diapers for kids in need. More than 8,000 people came together in Wenatchee, Washington to help hundreds of thousands. People turned out in McKinney, Texas for its 19th Make a Difference Day. 2 synagogues teamed up for a mitzvah day in Columbia, South Carolina. In Alabama, 175 Auburn students repaired houses for people in need. 200 volunteers planted 850 trees in battleground Washington. Aspiring teachers packed school supplies for students in Florida and Puerto Rico. Hilton, New York, the little village with a big heart, completed 15 different projects. Volunteers in Minneapolis built and refurbished 338 bikes for kids in need. A community of North Carolina seniors collected golf equipment for the state's poorest counties. Hundreds in Trumbull County, Ohio, came out to help the Appalachian community. Volunteers in Truckee, California, made the world's biggest tutu to fight breast cancer. And Lincoln, Nebraska, high schoolers held an empowerment camp for underprivileged girls.
Welcome back to Daily Blast Live. DBL Nation is sharing very personal stories about their loved ones passing, and also in regard to Barbara Bush. I want to read some of those comments, and just give me one moment because my internet, as per usual, is pretty slow here in this building. But let's begin.
And I'm glad we could have these conversations. You know what I mean? Just because it's a tough, death is a tough conversation to have, but you need to have your things in order so you don't put that burden on, you know, your son or your daughter or anyone else.
It could destroy a family, 1,000%. Brenda Folda on Facebook says, Mrs. Bush is in a good place, no hurting anymore. God bless her. I also want to say my condolences to the Bush's family and friends. God bless them all. And Ruth Saletti on Facebook, such a sad story. She was an amazing lady. How much time do I have, Stu? 20 seconds. One more comment from Pam on Facebook. She was a wonderful woman, and I agree with her decision. She was 92 years old, people. She wanted to be at home surrounded by loved ones, not in a hospital.
Well done.
All right. The stories never stop. We don't either. We're live on YouTube and Facebook. Keep the conversation going. Happy Wednesday, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.
Great show.
Ready? Do you want to play?
Hey guys, so we are doing emoji headlines. Anyone is welcome to join emoji headlines up here. Sorry, I'm shouting at you guys. Headline of the day, but using emoji. So usually Jeff is up here. Connor goes, you're gonna need some help. Okay. So we're gonna start with oven minus O. So ven plus E. Veneer. Veneer plus trophy. Veneer trophy. Award. Veneer award. To hand.
Veneer?
Well, I'm saying oven, right? Minus the O is ven, plus E.
But to E-ear?
Veneer.
No, it's not veneer. Veneer awards?
What about
Check
stove?
out these babies.
Okay, stove. We got some help. Stove minus the O. So that's store.
Walk off.
Two-hand. Star power. Hollylog, obviously, or
Hollylog.
Hollywood. Walk off. Walk off.
Walk of fame. Frame without the R.
Walk of fame.
All right, I gotta go.
Hollywood Walk of Fame. Stove. Steer trophy. Two-hand. Star power. Okay, hold on. Steve Award. Steven. We'll get there. Today on Daily Blast Live, remembering America's first grandmother. Millions mourn the passing of Barbara Bush. We'll look back at her life and legacy and her decision to end medical treatment in her final days. Terror at 30,000 feet. A beloved mother of two killed on a Southwest Airlines after an engine blows apart. Could anything have been done to prevent her death? And should we be worried about flying? Plus, the president and the porn star. Donald Trump weighs in on Stormy Daniels' sketch of the thug she says threatened her. We'll show you how the president is swinging back. And the reunion you did not see coming on Roseanne.
Wow.
Daily Blast Live starts right now.
Welcome to Daily Blast Live. Guest co-host Tara Setmayer will be joining us all week. She joins us obviously live again today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Let's get right into it. New audio from the cockpit of a deadly Southwest flight occurring right after a mid-air engine explosion. Listen, and then we'll talk.
Yeah, we have a part of the aircraft missing, so we're going to need to slow down a bit.
Southwest 1380, speed is your discretion. Maintain at any altitude above 3,000 feet.
Okay, could you have the medical meet us there on the runway as well? We've got injured passengers.
Injured passengers, okay, and is your airplane physically on fire?
No, it's not on fire, but part of it's missing. They said there was a hole and someone went out.
Wow. The 56-year-old pilot that you just heard is being called a hero. Yes, she is. Her name is Tammy Jo Schultz, and she is one of the first female Navy fighter pilots. Jennifer Reardon, a 43-year-old mother of two from Albuquerque, she was the woman who was killed after she was almost sucked out of a blown-out window following the explosion. Fellow passengers did rush to help drag her back inside the plane, and investigators say one of the engine's fan blades broke off during the flight and are focusing on wear and tear as a possible cause. And earlier today, we spoke with Sherry Sears, who was on that Southwest flight. Here's what she said.
I'm pretty banged up physically, sore, emotionally. It's pretty rough. When the engine exploded, the plane dipped strongly to the left, and that's when the window was pierced out and the oxygen mask dropped at that time, and everything was shaking and moving. And it was shortly after that you started to see debris. I would assume it was insulation, flying in the aircraft. I'm very shook up. It's surreal. Very grateful, very blessed to be here, to have another opportunity to tell the people that I care and love greatly how I feel. It's just amazing that I was a part of that. I was actually on that plane. So grateful for my family and my daughter.
Man, you could hear still the panic or fear in her voice still. And whenever you see something unfortunate like this, my thoughts and prayers with that family. It's such a freak accident, but it makes me at least think every day and think about my family, my parents, my son, and how appreciative I am about life, and that you have to take every day for what it is, good or bad, and make it the best day that you can, because things like this happen, unfortunately, and it makes me think to enjoy life a little bit more.
Yeah, but what really stood out for me is the original, the cockpit conversations that we heard, and it made me think back to Sully, who landed the plane that landed the plane right in the water, right in front of LaGuardia. I mean, it does have to reassure you a little bit. I know people are scared to fly, but did you hear how calm they were? Yeah. There's no panic in their voice. They're discussing facts. They're discussing their next decision in terms of how to get these people safe. I mean, she lost an engine, and could you tell from that conversation? And so I just want everybody to know, if they're scared to fly, just remember that real professionals are in charge of this.
Right, and it was comforting to hear the calmness in her voice, just because you can practice and rehearse or learn something all the time, do drills, but you can never really. And if you think about it, there's no two plane crashes that have really been alike, so you really can't prepare for it. You have to stay calm under those situations, and I applaud Tammy Jo Schultz, because from what I understand, when deplaning, when the passengers were deplaning, she was still doing her normal thank you for flying Southwest Airlines, and just to have the wherewithal to do that, it's so impressive.
Yeah, it's a testament to the safety of our aviation industry and the professionalism of our pilots. It's great to see a female pilot. There aren't that many, so kudos to her for handling the situation with aplomb. But it's also important to know that these kinds of things, they're reevaluating now how the airlines are going to inspect these engines and things. You know, they can't be site inspected. They have to have special equipment to do it. So Southwest, this is their first fatal accident, I believe, ever, and the first fatal accident we've had in American aviation since 2009, and they're going to now, you know, incorporate some more safety checks to make sure. So. It's a tough story, though.
Absolutely, it's really hard. It's but we're going to move on to another tough story, actually, Tara. New video just in on another incident similar to the arrests at Starbucks. T. Sherrod Oates posted videos on Facebook saying he went with his friend to work out at LA Fitness, or LA Fitness. He used his friend's guest pass, who was a member. An employee accused the friend of not paying and called the cops, and they kicked him out. Take a look.
I got my membership right here. I scanned in. I was asked to scan in again for no reason. So you kicking me out the gym for no reason? Only 2 black people in the gym been having problems with this staff for months over nothing. Contract is being terminated.
I don't have the answers.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows about contract is being terminated.
And LA Fitness has fired the manager and 2 employees at the gym. We are seeing company CEOs take swift action now. In fact, I'm not sure if you guys saw the CEO of Starbucks on Don Lemon last night crying. He felt so bad about what had happened at the Philadelphia Starbucks, and he promised, he looked directly into camera saying it will not happen again. And we know they're closing 8,000 Starbucks to, you know, do the additional racial bias training. But here we are again.
Let me ask you something, because I just saw this this video just now. Roughly, how many cops did you see in that video? Like how many cops?
Like
4 or 5?
5, I would say.
What about Starbucks? How many cops were in that?
Yeah, 5.
3 or 4.
So about 5, 6 guys for 2 guys that were sipping coffee and 2 guys that were working out. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see, would that have ever happened if that was 2 women that were getting kicked? Have they ever kicked in the door to a yoga studio and kicked 2 people out that they think didn't pay?
That looked like me? No.
Yes, it's never happened. So let's start to be honest about what's going on.
Okay, but I think there needs to be balance here with that. We don't know, again, now at least the company, if this manager overreacted and they were wrong, they fired the employees, they took action, and they handled it. The police officers, they didn't come in there guns blazing. They came in there very calm. They assessed the situation, and you have to, with each instance, how do we know? Maybe there were 3 cops that happened to be in the area. They don't know, there was a violent incident in this location before. Police officers they don't just do things for no reason. They're trained. There are some bad apples, but overwhelming majority of them are trained very well. They know how to de-escalate situations. They go there. We don't know what the situational awareness was with them. So just because there were multiple officers there doesn't necessarily mean there was anything nefarious going on. It could have just been they needed backup, perhaps, because who knows what the 911 call was. We don't know.
Let's get
I don't think it's that they didn't handle. The cops didn't do anything out of order there.
Ebony.
But this could be a one-off situation. And Tara, I'm going to ask you, like, when you say that they are trained to de-escalate situations, and a lot of them are, but we have seen so many cases where they have not de-escalated the situation.
We've seen sensationalized cases out of millions and millions of interactions.
Sensationalized? They're real. People are dead.
Yes, but people have blown these cases up out of millions and millions, and sometimes, whether people like it or not, whether they agree or not, whether they're emotional about it or not, they are justified shootings, and people don't understand.
How are they justified?
Michael Brown wasn't a justified shooting.
Explain to me how he is.
Michael Brown charged a police officer and tried to take his gun. It was a justified shooting. It's that officer or him.
What about Tamir Rice?
Right.
That was that's a more complicated situation.
Do you really want to? Okay, let's go through them.
Okay.
Tamir Rice, 13-year-old in the playground. Was that justified?
In a playground with a gun that they did not know. A police call was made that there was a kid there waving a gun in the park. Unfortunately, whether you like it or not, Cleveland has a youth gang situation that is really, really bad. A lot of violent youth gangs. So it was a play gun without the orange tip on it. That police officer does not know walking up on there whether that's a real gun or not.
So
it's not like it happened in a vacuum.
So Tamir Rice is justified.
I'm saying that officer was disciplined. Maybe he was too quick with it, but it's about whether it was a reasonable action or not. It did not happen in a vacuum.
What about
it was
Walter Scott, who was shot in the back?
Tough.
Walter Scott, was he?
And that was not justified. And that officer was convicted, I believe, life in prison.
And he was the only one that was convicted. What about Alton Sterling?
Alton Sterling, would remind me which one was that?
There's a lot. He's the one that was killed in front of the convenience store.
Oh, okay.
So
okay. Again, there are millions and millions of police interactions that go on every year that do not end up with people being shot. So when you pick out the 5 or 6 or maybe 10 out of millions of interactions that were unjustified, there are very few. And it just the sensationalized part of it.
Like that. Where are the equal situations where white
That's up to what the news decides, because if more white men, it's up to what the news decides to cover. There are 44% of deadly shootings in this country are white men, 22% are black men. So it happens. It's what the news
was taken
decides.
to Burger King after he murdered 9 parishioners, and he had a gun on him.
Right.
Nicholas Cruz had just killed 17 high school students with an assault rifle. He was taken to custody.
So then in that case, the cops did the right thing, and they were calm and took them in, so there was due process. And now you think that the cops should have shot him.
I'm sorry to interrupt you guys. We will
That's the complication of these individual circumstances.
The conversation during our Facebook Live. Tune into the break. We will continue the conversation. Erica Cobb, what's coming up on Daily Blast Live?
Police released new recordings in the death of Stephon Clark, an unarmed black man killed by cops. What do they reveal about the case? And listen to this.
Killmonger was right. Or Ben Carson is in the sunken place.
Did former President Obama just say that? It's the viral video that's got the nation buzzing. And also coming up, Barbara Bush, former First Lady and America's first grandmother. Her death has many of you thinking about the final days of your loved ones. We'll share your comments next. Welcome back. Plans are being made right now for Saturday's funeral of former First Lady Barbara Bush. She died yesterday at the age of 92, with her husband of 73 years, former President George H.W. Bush, holding her hand. Let's take a look back at her extraordinary life.
I, George Herbert Walker Bush, do solemnly swear
to see that same fella that I used to drive around in Little League carpools and I used to yell at to please pick up his room, to see him as president is truly amazing.
Barbara Bush's death comes just days after her family announced she was no longer seeking supportive medical treatment, instead opting for comfort care. And Sam, this touches so many, especially those with elderly parents.
That's right, Erica. It's such an emotional and extremely difficult decision. We have DBL Nation writing in as we speak. Al?
Right. Sherry Phelps Snow writes, comfort care is the one way of dying with dignity. If a terminally ill patient wishes to die on their own terms, they should be allowed to. I completely agree. My grandfather decided to come home and die in the living room, and I was able to hold his hand as he passed from this earth. My grandmother went to hospice. I was holding her hand as she passed away. My dad had a do not resuscitate in his will. I think everybody should decide to be able to live their life with dignity and die with dignity.
And you have I don't know if this is two-part, you have a tattoo with your grandmother's name on it, correct?
I do.
Yeah, wow.
Marcella, yes.
No, may she rest in peace.
Yes.
No, you're crazy about her.
Kimberly Ann Palisota writes, my husband passed in January. He did not want to be intubated or resuscitated. He wanted to go home. He came home on a Friday night with hospice. His dog got in bed with him and he passed at 5:30. His wishes were honored. You know, I was there when my grandmother passed away. We actually had a little bit of a family discussion over what her last wishes were, because she didn't sign her her DNR, and my grandfather did not want to resuscitate. My mother and I did. It was a little tough, but she ended up passing away peacefully. I held her hand. I was there, so we didn't have to go through it really. And you know, these decisions, especially that was touching to me because I come from an animal family. So seeing the vision of that gentleman and with his dog and passing away peacefully like that tears me up a little bit. And my grandfather passed away last summer at 90 years old, and he passed away in his sleep at night. And I have his thumbprint engraved on a necklace that I wear in honor of my grandfather too. So, you know, it's so emotional, end of life care, end of life decisions, and even with the healthcare debate, that has come up even more about how people can pay for that. It makes it more difficult for those to make those decisions too. It's hard, but I think that's an area that needs more attention.
Absolutely.
Because it's so emotional and life is so precious.
Yep, absolutely. And during the break on Facebook Live, we will discuss the legacy of Barbara Bush. So please join us. Erica, what's coming up on Daily Blast Live?
Everything's better when it's free, including drinks. We've got some easy tips on scoring free cocktails the next time you're at the bar. And Al is searching the web for the craziest viral videos he can find and giving his 2 cents. Al Sounds Off is next.
Yes. All right, guys, 2 minutes, 30
Hi, guys.
seconds.
We want to just give you a little bit more insight. Oh my God, you scared me.
This is a serious story.
Yeah.
Welcome back. All right,
Got it.
I'm going. You take care of this one.
So this is Barbara Bush, and this is Barbara Bush, and we wanted to give you a little legacy. I'm from DC, and when I grew up, basically, she was the first grandmother, and she was a very strong-willed, tenacity-filled woman. She had, let's keep going, we're going to read these. Our dear Barbara Bush, a grand lady, a great friend. She made the White House a brighter place. How we will miss you, Larry King. If you know her, she's the enforcer. She was the matriarch. She was the powerful force. There was 2 presidents in that. Let me touch this. There we go. Next one, this is Barbara Bush. Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. extending prayers for and condolences to the Bush family tonight on the passing of former First Lady of the United States, family matriarch. And again, I highlight that. You had 2 presidents in this family, but she was the enforcer. Let's go to the next one. We have Arnold Schwarzenegger. My thoughts are with President Bush and the entire Bush family, along with every person on this planet who was lucky enough to call Barbara a friend. She was funny. She advocated for literacy and also held babies in the 90s who were infected with AIDS and said, you can touch someone. And that was absolutely revolutionary. Bipartisan, yeah. Dan Scavino Jr. wrote, the American flag is flown at half-staff above the White House in memory. She was had bourbon by the end. She was sipping it the day she died with her husband of 73 years, longest in presidential history. Again, she's only the 2nd woman ever to be married to a president and be the mother of a president. Abigail Adams being the 2nd. Moving on, Clay Aiken. I'm ever more aware these days of the importance of the example that comes from the White House. Remember, he ran or was going to run. I'm so grateful that when I was was my son's age. Barbara Bush was such an amazing example for us children of the 80s. Those 3 pearls, that red suit, that shock of white hair. She met her husband at 16 years old, and they had a love affair that lasted, and she held that family together. I grew up and went to school with Barbara Bush and Jenna Bush, and they said when they got in trouble and they're underage, who were they scared of? Not 2 presidents, oh no, their grandmother. So may she rest. She went out on her own terms. Patrick Dempsey here, it was a pleasure to have met. Thoughts and prayers to the Bush family, much beloved. Next one we're gonna go to John Kasich. Ohioans join with all Americans to mourn the death of Barbara Bush. Grace, humility, and also good humor. I wanna make sure you guys know she's very, very funny. So write us in with any comments. Let's go to the next one. Senator Dianne Feinstein. Barbara Bush served her country and led her family. So we'll let us know what you guys think.
Welcome back to Daily Blast Live. It's time now for Al Sounds Off, when Al Jackson goes off on the wildest stories he could find. Let's get right into this, Al. From the runway to your closet, Calvin Klein just released $390 gloves. Don't worry, they're not sold out.
Yeah, Jeff, I'm not worried about this. Usually when you use rubber gloves like this, you're cleaning out your sink.
Yeah.
This case, $400, they're cleaning out your wallet. And honestly, guys like me and you, we see rubber gloves at our age, we get a little nervous. I honestly think this is the silliest thing I've ever seen. Why are you showing me these silly videos?
Because, I don't know, I mean, idiots must just wear these, you know what I mean?
These stupid gloves, Jeff.
Al, what do you...
Let's just go to the next video.
All right. Last night on Love at First Flight, the couples head to Sin City, and one man's patience gets tested not once, not twice. You get the point. Roll the clip.
One lap dance, whatever. Then the second one happened, and then the third time it happened. I was feeling pretty uncomfortable at that point. And then that's when I guess the 4th time happened. I'm basically done.
There you go.
Yeah, this guy was making it rain at the strip club, but it was with his tears. Dude, yeah, 4 lap dances. You're at the strip club. You're not at the Christian Science reading room. You should have known where you were. And honestly, dude, it's like, they say there's no sex in the champagne room. In this case, for his case, let's hope he's right. Let's go to our last one.
All right, if you want to take Instagramming your food to the next level, head to the Egg House, a place dedicated to creating perfect pics with everyone's favorite food. Eggs.
Not my favorite food. Jeff, I hate eggs. Why would you play this? First of all, this egg house is silly. The only house I went in my life better have waffle in front of it, all right?
Yeah.
That's the only place that's important. And finally, I'm going to tell you this. Anybody that went here, it's stilly, so yoke's on you.
Oh,
get it?
Yeah, I get it. How many egg puns you got?
About a dozen.
All right, there you go. That's Al Sounds Off, everybody. And this is comedian Al Jackson. We are live. Tori has a new trending story coming in hot.
That's right. Food and Wine asks bartenders their tips for scoring what? Free drinks. Here are some insider tricks. First up, announce that you're celebrating a big event. Earn a raise or propose to the love of your life, basically lying. Tell the bartender your news and they might just celebrate with you and a free cocktail. Next up, show up to the bar when it's slow. They might just comp you a drink for keeping them company on a slow night. And lastly, bring your office in for happy hour. Bartenders say bringing your coworkers in is a smart way to get your free drinks on your next visit. And as always, please tip your bartenders and your TV hosts. Back to you, Jeff.
Thanks, Tori. Up next on Daily Blast Live, a mom steps up and sings for her daughter when she gets stage fright. The video is going viral, and we got the mom right here on Daily Blast Live. Stay tuned.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by...
Attention. Tori.
Stories.
I can't move that fast. Okay. Jason's very good about this. Thank you. Oh, wait, hold on. Okay. Hey, guys, but if we want to talk to Connor, what do? We flip our collar. Kelly, Greta, flip your collar. Here we go. Now we can talk to the Connor Ashley. Go ahead.
Yeah, so trending right now from Variety is MoviePass. The CEO just came out. There were a couple of questions that arose from his last conversation. He said that he collects, user data and information, and some people were saying that they are being tracked. He said, we are not, in fact, tracking you. We're just seeing your location to make sure you're by the movie theaters.
Okay.
Well, now with all of this Facebook breach of
Cambridge
data,
Analytica.
all of that that stuff that's coming out. He's saying, we do not intend to ever sell your information.
Now remember, Mark Zuckerberg said the same exact thing 10 years ago. So
But, you know, he was saying that the $9.95 price point that it's at right now, he said it is sustainable even without selling the user information. They're just collecting all that to make their user experience better.
Well, I would like to say, I know a lot of our viewers use MoviePass. Jason right here. This is, so I'm not going to show anything, but here's the card. I don't know why I couldn't picture a card with the word MoviePass on them. But this is what it is. I wonder, Facebook also said that to people in the news. I will not sell your information. And eventually they did. And at some point you have to grow and grow. They have billions of people. Let us know if you guys have MoviePass. I know a lot of you do, and they love it, right? Pop that collar. What's going on, Kelly Grega?
Yeah, so you're a DC kid, so this story might interest you. The Hill is getting rid of their 50 top beautiful list, which is kind of iconic. They've had it since 2004, so...
I've been on it too long, you know what I mean? I'm just always on it.
Yeah. Well, DBL Nation, let us know what you think about them getting rid of this and, you know, what you want to see in its place.
Ooh, maybe the smartest. I like that idea.
You might want to grab your tissues for this story coming in hot. A viral video captures a very special moment between a mom and her daughter at a talent show after the young girl stopped singing because of stage fright. And she did just that. Joining us is Supermom Shay Washington. Thank you so much for talking to us. Now, this video is all over the internet. I just have to ask, what went through your mind when you saw your daughter Michaela on stage struggling a little bit?
Just looking at her facial expressions, it seemed like she felt like she was gonna fail. So I was like, I can't let my baby feel like she's a failure. So I got up on stage with my sweatpants on and I was like, yes, I have to get up here and do basically what I think any mom would have done. It was all to support Michaela, to let her know that, you know, you have to persevere and overcome your obstacles. Even though you forgot the words, still just go on and do what you have to do.
What did Michaela say to you, you know, when you guys got back home?
She said I was a hero, but I was just like, girl, I'm just doing what I gotta do for you.
Thank you for talking to us and inspiring not just mothers, but everyone to rise up in times of maybe when we see somebody else struggling. We thank you so much and we honor you. Thank you. We love you here at Daily Blast Live.
All right. Thank you so much.
President Obama's fake news warning. Right. It's a viral video that has you talking. We clear up the confusion over the funny fake news headline. And our two-man crew, they are up next. You'll find out what they're up to next.
Thank you. All right, guys, 2 minutes to back, coming back to you.
Yeah. Let's see. It says Sherilyn Ross on Facebook says, my grandmother passed in February on her 100th birthday at home where she wanted to be. So she made it to 100. Well done.
Can you imagine living a century?
I would love to talk to people. Like, I regret, my grandmother died at 79 in 2005, and I regret not talking to her more about parts of history that she lived through that are of interest to me. I was at a different place in my life where I didn't really, value it as much. So it was like, so I'm glad at least I got my grandfather till 90. So when we knew his health was failing, he had a heart issue. I made sure I spent enough time with him to be able to talk about like what it was like in World War II and like how he met my grandmother and how he used to cruise for chicks in certain areas. I'm like, come over my grandfather. Yeah. I was like, what? Just listening to his stories, it was important for family history and legacy for me.
Did you get a chance to talk about your experience having to deal with the passing?
No, I'm not. You did.
Oh, that was very tough because my mom was in a hospice situation where she came home, and my poor dad. It's not so much he didn't understand. I just think he really didn't grasp the fact that like going home to hospice, because I remember asking, I guess, the administrator, what percentage or how many people have used, because she said she'd been a hospice care nurse for 12 years, and I asked her how many times had she seen anybody bounce back, and she said only one time. So I knew, since she was going into that, I knew that it was, yes, but what gives me solace is my faith in God.
Hi, honey.
Sometimes I do the right thing because I'm afraid of ending up anywhere but heaven, and I know I'll see her again one day. That's the thing that gives me solace and gives me peace.
10 seconds, guys. Let's clear, please.
Thank you.
5 seconds. Here we go. 3, 2.
Welcome back to Daily Blast Live. Guest co-host Tara Setmayer is with us all week. Welcome.
Thank you.
I don't know why I said welcome 3 times.
She's
here for the 3rd day.
Yeah, it's the 3rd day, 3 welcomes. Yeah. Happy hump day, everybody. It's Wednesday.
All right, a new video is going viral, and it appears to show President Obama saying some pretty crazy stuff. Watch and listen closely.
We're entering an era in which our enemies can make it look like anyone is saying anything at any point in time, even if they would never say those things. So, for instance, they could have me say things like, I don't know, Killmonger was right, or Ben Carson is in the sunken place, or, how about this, simply, President Trump is a total and complete dip. Now, you see, I would never say these things, at least not in a public address, but someone else would. Someone like Jordan Peele.
Whoa, and as you saw, that wasn't really Obama's voice. It was comedian and filmmaker Jordan Peele trying to make a point about how realistic the future of fake news can be.
Yeah. The first thing I thought about when I saw that is we think of everything that's going on now in the news. And we talk about Comey and Stormy Daniels, and somebody could imitate them, but what comes out of their mouth is crazy anyway, so they don't need anybody to fake it for them.
Is this as funny as Ebony, and you can nail that accent, Ebony, or his speech, his cadence of his speech too. If this is our future, how are we going to be able to decipher between what is truth and what is not?
We're doomed if this is what's going on. I mean, look at how people have fallen to the fake news, like legit fake news, with the Russian, which is real news, the Russians intervening, in our elections and putting out that kind of fake news on Facebook and Twitter, and how many people bought it. They didn't know, and that's looking at something like that looks pretty real. Most people, aren't going to examine it. They're not forensic video examiners. Right. So I think that's what's so dangerous about what Trump is doing by making, anytime anyone disagrees, or if it's something that, some criticism, it's fake news, and conditioning people into never believing what is true.
Honestly,
it's very 1984, very Orwell.
I was just watching that, and I was like, I wondered, what our discretionary judgment wasn't even airing that, because somebody could air the first 4/5 of that, not show the last part with Jordan Peele, and then put that on some kind of right-wing website. And now look, see what Obama. That's how close we are to having now. Not only do we have audio, but we have visual. And once people see that and they already believe one way, I mean, you're going to cement.
And what if it's just like a soundbite, a clip that's only 2 seconds, so you don't really get to see all the graphics in there, or a sex tape? It's blurry anyway. If you just put someone in there.
Not if you do it right, Jeff.
But if you think about the way the internet is now, or the way some people think anything they hear or see on the internet already is true, and then you have something like this to further that is really like, do we need to regulate it or what? It's really scary.
That's a good question. DBL Nation, do you think that we should be regulating this? It's a slippery slope, though.
It is.
But I would love to hear. It is. I would love to hear what you say. Speaking of the president, President Trump is calling Stormy Daniels' composite sketch a, quote, total con job. This was the sketch that we showed you yesterday of the man Stormy Daniels says threatened her over her alleged affair with Trump. And today, Trump tweeted, quote, a sketch years later about a non-existent man, a total con job, playing the fake news media for fools, but they know it. He retweeted this side-by-side of the sketch and a picture of Stormy with another man who is identified as her husband. And we just learned they've received, are you ready for this? More than 1,500 tips on potential leads to ID the thug @gmail.
I would love to read some of those because I bet you some of those are actually comical. But this isn't a comical situation. I mean, it is in a sense that I think this is just crazy, this sketch. And it would have kind of been the end, maybe, to Stormy Daniels and her lawyer, because I think it got to a laughable point. But having the president acknowledge this and then retweet after that, I mean, he just doesn't know when to stop. Nope. If he just let it stop, they would be laughed off, I believe. That's just how I think. But then getting the attention of the President of the United States, I mean, I don't know how anybody can't get in this guy's ear and just is like, please, don't press that button.
You think they haven't? They've tried.
I know.
Tried. He's incorrigible, and this is what he does. He has no impulse control. And this whole Stormy Daniels thing is really under his skin because of the Michael Cohen connection, which could really be an embarrassment for Trump, if not take him down completely. We just don't know. And so the fact that I'm sure his lawyers, which are very difficult for him to retain and keep because they see what kind of a nightmare client he is, no lawyer worth their salt, no White House staffer would ever say, yeah, that's a good idea. I think you should tweet that.
What if she really was threatened?
Totally ill-advised.
What if this is a legitimate sketch, even though it does look oddly like her husband? But if this is legitimate, what's wrong with that?
If it's legitimate, then she shouldn't have gone on The View with the sketch. She should have gone to police and authorities, and maybe we take her a little bit more seriously.
She should have listened.
That's what I, you know what
Woody
I mean?
Woodpecker. If you had gone to the police, Woody, none of this ever would have happened.
Oh,
we are live. I'm so sorry to break it up, but we are live. Digital producer Brett Forrest does have news at this moment. I want to get right to Brett.
Like Sam, my man crush Idris Elba can do anything. He just signed on for a new Netflix comedy series called Turn Up Charlie. He'll play a struggling DJ who becomes a nanny for his best friend's problem child daughter. 8 episodes at 30 minutes each have been ordered, and production starts this May. If you didn't know, Elba actually started his career as a DJ in London before getting into acting, so he's kind of returning to his roots.
Thank you so much, Brett. In fact, Tara was saying he can DJ.
Yes.
He can DJ.
In the UK.
I love Idris Elba, him and Hugh Jackman. My husband knows, and I saw a Facebook Live of him DJing like real deep house music. I was like, okay, just as if you weren't sexy enough.
He just got hotter.
Yes.
And he can turn on and off that accent.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
They say he's gonna get
He's getting married though, ladies. He's getting married.
Yeah.
Oh,
he's engaged.
He divorced the first woman.
He's engaged now.
Oh,
so.
girl, we gotta talk on the break.
Okay. All right, Roseanne is bringing back a fan favorite. Last night saw the return of Johnny Galecki's character, David. Take a look.
They kept everything exactly the same as it was when you guys were kids.
It's a decorating choice called poverty.
And the plot revolved around Roseanne orchestrating David's return behind Darlene's back. I got to go to you, Al, because, you know, your kids are getting there. One's almost a teenager, right? So are you ever going to meddle in your kids' lives?
I want to say no, but I mean, as a parent, this is somebody that you love. And you're like, I already see, you can already see, like, that guy's no good, that girl's no good. So, like, you try and do it for them, but unfortunately, kids got to learn on their own. But yes, I am going to meddle.
I can totally see you meddle.
100%. Yeah.
Are you going to be a meddler?
For sure, a meddler. Yeah, I think I will. I thought I had a couple tricks up my sleeve growing up, so those tricks aren't going to work with Lawson, but kids evolve.
Oh,
they
wait
get
a
more
second.
clever. No tricks. I'm not giving out any secrets. My parents watch the show.
Meaning when you would go date a girl, you had some tricks up your sleeve? To the
Date
parents?
a girl?
To the parents? Is that what you mean?
I'm going to talk to my mom out there. Mom, how many flat tires did I have growing up? Not me, my friends. Maybe 30. Maybe 30. Yeah.
That's
35.
why you're 2 hours
You have another
late,
flat tire? Sure.
My mom used to meddle in mine.
What happened?
She was
Tell
good
us.
with it. Well, in mine and in my girlfriend's. A lot of my girlfriends she liked. For example, she'd be like, "What's going on with Tara?" And I'll be like, "Mom, you know, Tara's going through a separation and a divorce." She'd be like, "Really?" Then Tara will come over. "Hey, girl, where your husband at?" And then Tara would be like, "You know, we're going. What? I had no idea." I'm like,
Well,
really, Mama?
my mom and I are like best friends, super close. We talk 10 times a day. My mom was a single parent, had me at 21, so we grew up together, you know. And my mom and I in high school, we sound so much alike. We used to trick guys on the phone. When they would call for me, and I'd put my mom on the phone, and they'd think they were talking to me. It was hysterical. I thought it was funny. They didn't. No, I was a good girl. I was a good girl, but yeah, my mom's awesome.
You know who the biggest mama meddler is?
Who?
Candy Burris's mom, right?
Oh, yes.
Oh,
she's too much, that one.
She cannot help it.
Yeah,
and if you say something, you know, Candy will get you straight. Okay, don't be talking about my mom.
Even when she knows her mother's wrong, though. Because
Right.
her mom is wrong
I can't
a
with her
lot.
mom. I can't with her
she's
mom.
too much.
She's all up in it.
I can't
Can
either.
Jeff and I leave?
Okay, a sweet new close Clothing Line has just launched. Tori has a story coming in hot.
Have you guys not met my mom? She is Bette Midler. All right, what's the best Starburst flavor? Guys, shout it out.
Pink. Yellow.
Weird.
Red.
Pink, obviously, and now you can wear it. They just released pink Starburst merchandising. The pink treat flew off the shelves when an exclusive pink-only pack was released last year. Now I Am Pink Starburst is available on sweatshirts, jackets, t-shirts, scarves, and even a neon sign. Prices start at $20. Check it out on youareapinkstarburst.com. DBL Nation, what's your favorite Starburst, and what flavor am I?
Is this our social media
This is
going out of control where people always, I'm this, I'm that, I'm a pink Starburst?
Couldn't
like,
he pick a different color than pink? Pink is like Victoria's Secret.
Pink is
and
the
pink
best
is
one.
breast cancer too.
Be a yellow
so,
Starburst.
I don't know.
Be original.
But why do we
be
gotta
original
tell
is
the
better.
world what Starburst we are?
Right.
No, I mean, of course I think it's stupid.
Who cares? I just think it's a little much.
But now that we're talking about it.
I'm orange.
Wait, does anybody like yellow? Can we get rid of yellow? And
I like yellow. It's lemon. I like yellow.
You guys are all lying.
I like lemon.
Erica, what flavor
like
do you
lemon?
like? It's also time for her top human stories of the day.
I like all the flavors, personally. Just bring the candy to me. Prince Harry and fiancée Meghan Markle are meeting with young members of the Commonwealth Youth Forum today in London. Meghan's presence at this particular event was highly unusual, as she is not yet officially a royal. But you know Prince Harry, always breaking the rules for love. And Pink is the new cover girl for People magazine's Beautiful issue, and she brought along her 2 kids for the photo shoot. She says of her parenting style, I believe in letting your kids know they can count on you and that you'll be there. And Carrie Underwood has just announced that she'll release her next album this September. It's called Cry Pretty, and here's a behind-the-scenes sneak peek.
Sometimes you together and write a song that is kind of exactly what you're feeling at that moment, and that was Cry Pretty for me. I think Cry Pretty sets the tone for the rest of the album because it's emotional and it is real, but there's also just some incredible musical moments.
Carrie's album drops this September 14th, and we can't wait. Coming up on Daily Blast Live, a small Jewish population joins forces to make a big impact. We'll tell you all about Mitzvah Day and how it's helping the community. And up next, Al and Jeff are revving up your appetites as they discover what is poutine. It's a 2-man crew you don't want to miss.
Hey guys, so I don't know, this has become, a lot of people are angry in the studio, some infighting happening. It's about the Starburst colors. Lots of anger. I just need you to come over here, Mr. Albert. Diane Sawyer has, excuse me, I'm old and I'm wearing—
Looking like an old ball player.
I know, you're like, yeah, you're like, I was a catcher back in the day. So Diane Sawyer says she's a yellow. And Al, you need to shut your mouth about being a non-yellow fan.
Let me take that back, because if you do like lemon, but you like it more than pink or cherry?
Pink is nothing.
You're crazy.
It tastes like sticky air.
Okay, what about cherry?
Cherry is phenomenal.
I think
pink is so like light that I feel like it's an innuendo of a Starburst.
I think lemon and orange are just like they were put in there to break up the goodness that is pink
Are
and
you
red.
kidding me? I need acid. I need a little kick. I need a tartness.
Eat a pink one and a red one together.
No, a pink one is a shadow of an old Starburst. That's exactly what it is. Wow, people are. Sherry Powers just writes in, I hate when work interferes with my DBL watching. Thank goodness you're on longer than an hour. First of all, Sherry, get out of there. Just run.
Okay, hold on.
Just run, Sherry, run.
Are you lemon heads or cherry clan?
Say the second one, cherry clam.
Cherry clan. Those were like, they were.
Raise your hand if you know what that is.
They were break
No
off
hands raised.
candy. So, okay, so.
What,
Yeah.
now you're a really old baseball player.
Yeah, I am.
He's
There
like
was-
a big hunka.
No, it was. They were like, okay, there was lemon heads, and
I
then
know
those got
lemon heads.
popular. So then, what broke off the lemon heads? You had the red hots.
I know, I love
you
the red
had
hots.
the Alexander the grape. Do you remember that?
No, okay, but some people are nodding.
All right,
okay.
yeah,
I'll give you that one.
Yeah, Boston baked beans, which were disgusting.
Ew.
And that's what I just said.
Cherry
yeah,
clan?
and cherry clan, which was probably super racist.
What is the thing? Yeah, cherry clan seems very racist.
Yeah, but
am I right?
this is the 80s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'm on board
we were
now. I
letting it
understand.
fly.
Everyone was okay with it. Anyone get a lemon head stuck several times? Not just asking for a friend. No, I'm asking for a friend. Okay. Okay. Cherry Starburst is the best. Bethany Webb brew it. I'm red. Lemon is a palate cleanser. Jason Anderson, I totally agree with you. It's like an amuse-bouche.
It's time for Two-Man Crew. Today, our own Jeff and Al head to a pop-up poutineery. So what's poutine? Well, let's find out.
What's up, guys? Jeff and Al here, Two-Man Crew. Today, we're going international, right, Al?
That's right, we're at Air Canada's pop-up poutineery. Yeah.
What'd you call me?
No, poutine. It's an iconic Canadian dish, and you're about to have it right now.
What is poutine?
Poutine is a classic Canadian dish with French fries, gravy, and cheese curds. We have created 9 unique dishes that's aligning with our Asia-Pacific market. So fly the Canadian way.
Wait, does that mean that everybody has to say A after everything they say on the flight?
Yes.
A.
This originated in the 1950s in Quebec. So what we start with here is going to be some fries.
Some fries, eh?
Some cheese curds. You got the honors there.
All right.
And then we're going to go in with the beef gravy here.
All right.
Sam, was the person who invented this happen to be hungover by any chance?
Possibly. That's probably a good possibility.
No. We got some twists on the original poutine,
Yeah,
right?
so we actually have 10 different dishes that we're serving up here. We have 2 right here, the Shanghai and the tempeh.
The proof is in the poutine.
We call this one the Brisbane. Fries, smoked cheddar cheese, barbecued sausage gravy.
All right, Sam, this is our final poutine dish here.
So we call this the Soul. Potato chips, cheese curds, kimchi, fermented cabbage right on top.
Best friends forever. All right.
All right. Kimchi is just a secret friend that sneaks up on your taste buds like, oh, you didn't know I was coming, did you?
All right, Al. I'm getting pooped from all this poutine.
Oh, man, I don't blame you, but you know what, in the end, it's all gravy, baby.
It sure is, buddy. Two-man crew.
That's right.
International style.
Yeah.
Oh, Ebony's all about it. Okay, Ebony.
I am, and this is the Brisbane. Let me see what this, okay, I've been told it's pretty spicy hot. And it is.
Yeah, this is good. Try it. This one's with tater tots. But yeah, it's Brisbane, Australia. That's the influence. So each
I'll
stop
try
that
one.
they have on Air Canada.
Oh, yes, we have to turn it around, yes.
No one cares. But that's where the influence works. Me and Al care about our two-man crew.
Yeah, they did, and we appreciate that. Because at first I was like, well, it seems kind of random with the cities that they chose.
Right.
But now that they're flying, Air Canada's flying out of Vancouver, you can get all the places they fly to now. They took the local flavors from that area and incorporated it into poutine. So that's why you have a Brisbane, that's why you have a Shanghai, a Taipei, all that kind of stuff.
Shanghai was the jam.
Yes.
All right.
Well, where I'm from, French fries with gravy in Jersey, they're called disco fries. It's like the diner delicacy after midnight. New Jersey.
Like that.
Disco fries. So shout out to all my Jersey folks and diner people that get disco fries at 3 a.m. after the club.
Well, now it's
down the shore.
It's called poutine on the two-man crew.
Yeah.
Disco fries is tomorrow.
Speaking of flying, thinking of planning a trip this summer, why not take a tasty road trip along some of the best food and drink trails in the U.S.? Tori has all those details coming in hot.
PopSugar.com is a trending story about the best food and drink trails to explore. Want to come with me? Cool. First up, the Donut Trail in Butler County, Ohio. They say they have the largest number of donut shops per capita, so pick up a donut passport at one of the shops and then visit every single stop and turn in a completed passport for a free Donut Trail t-shirt. Come on, let's go to the next one. It's the Buffalo Wings Trail. You guessed it. In Buffalo, New York. Check out 12 stops, including one at the Anchor Bar, the birthplace of the original Buffalo Wing. Finally, who wants to come with me to Denver, Colorado? Check out the Denver Beer Trail. It's a beer lover's dream with 35 stops at some of the city's best breweries. I'm suddenly hungry for wings and poutine. I'll be back.
Oh, here comes Tori.
I love wings.
Tori's going to eat
wings if you don't have them with you.
Don't yell at me,
Al. The organizer of Mitzvah Day, an organization that has transformed hundreds of lives in South Carolina. Here at Daily Blast Live, we know you love your viral videos. And this one got over 3.5 million views on our very own DBL Facebook page. This guy isn't the only one wondering where spring is, huh? We feel you, buddy.
Start your day the DBL way. Go to our website or Facebook page and subscribe to our free morning newsletter, The Breakfast Blast. It's delivered right to your inbox and it gives you the latest headlines. Subscribe now and be in the know before your first cup of joe. I'm eating some of the poutine. Before you introduce Brooke, Brooke's wearing her Nana sweatshirt. How cool is it? Her Nana passed away. What's your mom, Nana's name?
It was Marjorie Way.
Marjorie Way, we are waving to you up at high and they're waving back down.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
I know.
You're gonna make me cry.
I'm sorry.
No, but yeah.
She had great style.
She did. I think I got myself.
You definitely did.
And my other grandma who watches too. So hi, Grandma Jo.
Hi, other grandma.
You dress like this at work?
Yeah, that's your grandma's who passed.
All right, don't make me feel
Yeah, you look like a real jerk there, Al. Go eat your poutine. You walked in. I got a funny thing to say. I'm gonna back up now.
Now he's like, okay, bye.
What's going on over here?
So we have some exciting news. This poster just dropped today. It's The Bachelorette returning May 28th. This is Becca.
Finally.
And it's, let's do the damn thing. Because that's what she says. She's always like, let's do the damn thing.
Oh, so that's the slogan.
Yeah, so they're using this as their marketing campaign. And Jao, I mean, what do you have to add to this?
Let's move over to Jel, I guess, who's Angelica Lombardi. I didn't know we were going with Jel.
That's her name.
I didn't know that was your nickname.
If you know or not, we do the Bachelor Breakdown that airs on Instagram every week.
Does anyone have a plug? Oh no, we just found one.
So we will be continuing our segment to talk about Becca. Great.
Anyway, that's weird that was just there and ready for them to use. What's going on
Tori,
here?
this is really cool. So
It's
you
like
know
Dan Brown.
The beer Stella.
Yeah, of course.
Everyone loves. So they are coming out with a new glass for the royal couple.
Oh my gosh.
And get this. So
I just
for
see secret messages.
Yes, for Prince Harry and Meghan's wedding. It's really cool because on the glass has all of these secret hidden messages.
I'm in the Sorcerer's
that
Stone.
You have to find. A fun one is if you find chicken on there.
The chicken?
That's the first meal they cooked together the night they were
That's
engaged.
right. That's right at the cottage.
Yes.
Wow, we know way too much about this poor couple.
And Tori, you should know. I mean, you
Well,
will know these.
I will know these things. So
I'm
I
gonna have
love
you
anything.
investigate.
Okay, with secret messages, I'm a big fan. Right now, if you can zoom in, Chris, clearly there's an elephant and a castle and a crown. These aren't hard.
Guess
is what I'm saying.
Guess what? We need to guess the meaning behind it. So there's an ice cream cone. Why do you think that's on there, Tori?
Well, clearly, because they are.
Harry has a sweet tooth.
It's vanilla. They are vanilla people.
Well, really, it's because Harry has a sweet tooth.
That's it. See, I want more like secret. We'll find out more later.
Today's Extra Shot is about giving back to the community. Daily Blast Live's parent company, Tegna, is honoring people who are making a difference. Today, it's the organizers of Mitzvah Day, a South Carolina group bettering their community.
In a big southern city with a small Jewish population, the only 2 synagogues in the Columbia, South Carolina area teamed up for Mitzvah Day. 150 volunteers help people of all faiths. Everything from making blankets, visiting senior citizens, and distributing blessing bags full of toiletries and bottled water. They also partnered with Food Not Bombs, an organization that helps get fresh produce that's not sold at stores to the people who need it most.
Lainey Cohen, creator of Mitzvah Day, joins us now. Lainey, what was your reaction when you learned you were chosen out of hundreds of organizations for the Make a Difference Day award?
Absolutely, completely speechless, which is relatively unheard of.
Tell me how Mitzvah Day has impacted your community.
We have brought people who otherwise would not have known each other in our small Jewish community together. And not only have they become friends and done things socially, but they've also gone out and done other volunteer into the community beyond Mitzvah Day. They meet regularly to do volunteer projects. Our children have taken a vested interest in spreading the love and in doing more community service volunteer projects.
You know, I was just going to ask you about the kids because so many kids were involved in Mitzvah Day. And as you said, they were continuing to make this happen. Have there been other acts of service that you've seen them inspired to do?
Oh my gosh. Well, beyond the the Food Not Bombs, the kids have regularly, within one of the Sunday school classes, one of the grades, 7th and 8th grades, have actually come together, and they now have gone out into different religions, different organizations, and have helped the needy, have helped continue to serve through Food Not Bombs, and it's just been wonderful.
Well, Lainey, you yourself are such an inspiration in everything that you're doing in the community. Congratulations on the success of Mitzvah Day, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored.
We are live. Digital producer Kelly Schubert with news at this moment.
Yep, it's tax day again. And if you waited until the last minute, you are in luck. We told you first on Daily Blast Live that the IRS website was having major issues accepting returns yesterday. Now, as you can see, the IRS is giving you until midnight tonight to file your return. DBL Nation, tell us, have you filed your tax return yet? Jeff, how about you?
Extension already done.
Extension. Yeah. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Attention homeowners.
Hey guys, so that was just one of the winners of the amazing Make a Difference Day, and it's so good. A mitzvah, if you don't know, is a good deed, and you should just do them at all times. So we want to show you some further winners, so take a look at this video now. Blast Live is honored to celebrate all of the winners of the Make a Difference Day initiative, driven by Arby's Points of Light and our parent company, Tegna. Every year, people make a big difference in their communities, all in a single day of volunteer service. In Pittsburgh, volunteers created art kits and collected diapers for kids in need. More than 8,000 people came together in Wenatchee, Washington to help hundreds of thousands. People turned out in McKinney, Texas for its 19th Make a Difference Day. 2 synagogues teamed up for a Mitzvah Day in Columbia, South Carolina. In Alabama, 175 Auburn students repaired houses for people in need. 200 volunteers planted 850 trees in battleground Washington. Aspiring teachers packed school supplies for students in Florida and Puerto Rico. Hilton, New York, the little village with a big heart, completed 15 different projects. Volunteers in Minneapolis built and refurbished 338 bikes for kids in need. A community of North Carolina seniors collected golf equipment for the state's poorest counties. Hundreds in Trumbull County, Ohio, came out to help the Appalachian community. Volunteers in Truckee, California, made the world's biggest tutu to fight breast cancer. And Lincoln, Nebraska, high schoolers held an empowerment camp for underprivileged girls.
Welcome back to Daily Blast Live. DBL Nation is sharing a lot of their comments. Ebony, take it away.
Yes, they are. Your namesake, Tara. Tara Merritt on YouTube says, yes, Tara, disco fries. A fellow Jersey girl here.
Yes, Tara from Jersey.
Yeah, Kennedy on Twitter says, I applaud at Daily Blast Live for all of the hosts participating in measured conversation and analysis on a very important subject, talking about racial bias and police response. Love Al Jackson for his observations, Ebony Steele for questions, and Tara for your discerning mind, girl.
That's so important. That's what
a high compliment.
For Daily Blast Live, that's exactly what we want here, is to have different opinions and to be able to have respectful discourse. And your opinion at home is just as important. So please continue to chime in. You are our 5th host. We are live on YouTube and Facebook. Keep the conversation going. Happy Wednesday, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day.
All right, Leo, you gonna finish what you started?
Emoji headline. Okay, so we got Steve. Looks like stove without the O, so minus the O plus an E. So Steve. Earwin. To receive. Star. Power. Hollywood. On. This is on. Yes. Star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Oh, right on. All right, Steve Irwin, they receive. Star on Hollywood Walk of Fame.
I'm gonna change it while you talk.
Yeah. But guys, this was a little bit of a hard one. When Tori was trying to figure it out, I had no idea, and then I figured it out. 4 plus D. Ford launches. Okay, Ford launches. On demand. Ford launches on demand. Pills phone call. Pill call? Prescription? We'll see you guys next break, though.
Today on Daily Blast Live. Remembering America's first grandmother. Millions mourn the passing of Barbara Bush. We'll look back at her life and legacy and her decision to end medical treatment in her final days. Terror at 30,000 feet. A beloved mother of 2 killed on a Southwest Airlines after an engine blows apart. Could anything have been done to prevent her death? And should we be worried about flying? Plus, the president and the porn star. Donald Trump weighs in on Stormy Daniels' sketch of the thug she says threatened her. We'll show you how the president is swinging back. And the reunion you did not see coming on Roseanne. Wow. Daily Blast Live starts right now.
Welcome to Daily Blast Live. Guest co-host Tara Setmayer joins us. Tara will be with us all week long. We love having you here, Tara.
Thank you. I love being here. This is great.
You're at Hump Day. You're almost there.
Yes.
No, you want to stay more with us.
I do, but I miss my husband. And my kitty. And my kitty.
I miss my wife, for the record. All right. Let's move on. New audio from the cockpit of a deadly Southwest flight occurring right after a mid-air engine explosion. Listen, and then we'll talk.
Yeah, we have a part of the aircraft missing, so we're going to need to slow down a bit.
Southwest 1380, speed is your discretion. Maintain at any altitude above 3,000 feet.
Okay, could you have the medical meet us there on the runway as well? We've got injured passengers.
Injured passengers, okay, and is your airplane physically on fire?
No, it's not on fire, but part of it's missing. They said there was a hole and someone went out.
And the 56-year-old pilot that you just heard is being called a hero, and she definitely is. Her name is Tammy Jo Schultz, and she is one of the first female Navy fighter pilots. Jennifer Reardon, a 43-year-old mother of 2 from Albuquerque, was killed after she was almost sucked out of a blown-out window following the explosion. Fellow passengers rushed to help drag her back inside the plane. Investigators say one of the engine's fan blades broke off during the flight and are focusing on wear and tear as a possible problem here. Earlier today, we spoke with Sherry Sears, who was on that Southwest flight. Take a listen.
I'm pretty banged up physically, sore, emotionally. It's pretty rough. When the engine exploded, the plane dipped strongly to the left, and that's when the window was pierced out and the oxygen mask dropped at that time, and everything was shaking and moving. And it was shortly after that you started to see debris. I would assume it was insulation, flying in the aircraft. I'm very shook up. It's surreal. Very grateful, very blessed to be here, to have another opportunity to tell the people that I care and love greatly how I feel. It's just amazing that I was a part of that. I was actually on that plane. So grateful for my family and my daughter.
And I want to thank Sherry for calling in and doing that, because you could hear in her voice that she was shaken up. And I mean, just me thinking about my family and things, it shook me up when I heard her voice, when I'm hearing her voice. And, you got to live every day like it's your last. That's why you always say that, because it could be.
And she saw that in person. They all did. They saw someone lose their life, and they sat next to their loved ones and said, I get another chance to look at you in the eye and say, I love you. Yes, you don't get another shot like that a lot.
You know, I just want to talk about Jennifer Reardon, who was a mother of two. She, I mean, by all accounts of the people who loved her, was a pillar in the community, a leader, her and her husband. She was on a business trip, and the first thing I thought of just with Southwest is I fly Southwest a lot, and you know, you pick your seat. And for her to have picked her seat, and just the idea of how things just aren't promised. But her family, of course, asks that their privacy be respected, but they also ask, in her memory, please remember to always be kind, loving, caring, and sharing.
Let's dedicate today's show to Jennifer Reardon. May she rest.
Absolutely. And kudos to that female pilot, excuse me, who brought that plane down with the utmost skill and kept calm. And good for her, because there aren't that many female pilots. So.
She's a hero for sure.
She's a hero too.
New video just in of another incident similar to the arrest at Starbucks. T. Sherrod Oates posted videos on Facebook saying he went in with his friend to work out in an LA Fitness. He used his friend's guest pass, who is a member. An employee accused the friend of not paying and called the cops and kicked them both out. Take a look.
I got my membership right here. I scanned in. I was asked to scan in again for no reason. So you kicking me out the gym for no reason? Only 2 black people in the gym, been having problems with this staff for months over nothing. Contract is being terminated.
I don't have the answers.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows my contract is being terminated.
And LA Fitness has fired the manager and 2 employees at the gym. I'm not taking a dog in this fight by any means, but I got to tell you, I've had my own problems with LA Fitness. It's definitely not racial or anything like that, but I'm telling you, it's a bad company, LA Fitness. But I'm just going to leave that there, but because this is obviously more of a racial issue.
I just want to say to anyone that's dealing with this in a racial issue, do you see how he took his camera out and calmly, and Erica spoke about that when she was being followed by the cops? The violence and racism isn't new. The cameras are new. So get your phone out. You were absolutely allowed to take video. That man was calm, and he has that for court. It is indispensable. So if you feel you're being treated unfairly, you take your rights as a citizen and you pull that phone out and you take a video just like that young man did.
And also another lesson is that they were compliant. And when the police come, that if the police were called, there was an incident, be compliant and explain what happened. More times than not, it will not escalate. And I think in this case, it did not escalate. It was handled at least appropriately from that perspective. Obviously, I don't know what LA Fitness was doing, but at least from the interaction with law enforcement there, I think is important to point out, where it didn't escalate because everyone remained calm.
Well, I think, speaking to the calm, or I still go back to the idea of compliance, and just it is naturally my thing to try to comply, but there are times when it is really in human nature that you just want to defend yourself and say that this is absolute BS and call it the way that it's seen. But it goes back to my point yesterday about Starbucks. Today we're talking about Starbucks. Tomorrow we're talking about LA Fitness. Who are we going to talk about next? So when we talk about having these protests, and what are we really doing and to whom? Because this is a conversation that needs to be had across the board.
Just as a consumer, though, this is your power right here. Take that video, because we're talking about it.
Right, and I do want to say companies are stepping up, though, and with swift action. These managers were fired. The CEO of Starbucks stepped up and gave a statement. I think we have a soundbite of him actually speaking.
You watch that video, it's hard to watch. And my heart sank. It's been an emotional experience. And really trying to understand how this could happen in today's society in a Starbucks, where our mission is around the human experience and creating a warm, welcoming environment for everyone.
Wow.
And I just want to credit Starbucks for doing that, because I think it's very easy to ignore it and hope it goes away in a week. With that many employees, with that many places across the United States, across the world, things are going to happen. Things are going to happen like that. And I think stepping up like that is the right thing to do.
Absolutely. Couldn't have handled it. I don't think they could have handled it any better at this point.
Yeah, in an age of transparency, it doesn't get more sincere than that.
That's right.
I agree with that.
All right. Speaking of presidents, President Trump is calling Stormy Daniels' composite sketch a, quote, total con job. This was the sketch that we showed you yesterday of the man Stormy Daniels says threatened her over the alleged affair with Trump. Today, Trump tweeted a sketch years later about a non-existent man, a total con job, playing the fake news media for fools, but they know it. He retweeted this side-by-side of a sketch and a picture of Stormy with another man who is identified as her husband, and we just learned they've received more than 1,500 tips on that crazy catch an ID.
ID the thug at
gmail.com. So they got 1,500 tips. I'd like to read some of those tips.
Can I just say something, though, quickly about Trump's reaction to this? What he would know about con jobs and being fake, considering he was the guy that was his own fake PR guy. Remember John Barron? I mean, so I guess he would know.
Now, you want to know what else is interesting? Guess how many tweets President Trump has tweeted about Stormy Daniels until now?
This is the first one.
0. Yeah. Have you ever heard of that? This man will not speak about her. So for him to speak out, the best thing he could have done is take his Twitter and thrown it out the window, because you can use all of this in court. So stop talking.
He's not going to. He can't help himself. I tried.
Sam Shucker, what's coming up on Daily Blast Live?
Police release new recordings in the death of Stephon Clark, an unarmed black man killed by cops. What do they reveal about the case? And listen to this.
Killmonger was right. Or Ben Carson is in the sunken place.
Did former President Obama just say that? It's the viral video that's got the nation buzzing. And also coming up, Barbara Bush, former First Lady and America's first grandmother. Her death has many of you thinking about the final days of your loved ones. We'll share your comments next.
Hi guys, so you guys are writing in about Trump not shutting up, and I'll be super honest, my dad's an attorney in DC, and I said, Dad, would you ever represent, or your firm represent Trump? And he said, well, not no, but hell no. Yeah, basically, because he wouldn't listen. So basically what's happening now is you guys are writing in Ethan Helhowski, Trump is a product of fame, success, and money. Renee P, exactly, Trump needs to just sit down somewhere and shut up. I like how specific he was about sitting down.
Or as some would say, have several seats. Have several seats.
Now, have you guys ever met someone, friend, enemy, whatever, who literally doesn't know when to stop talking?
Well, I've never met somebody as powerful as the president.
But is there anyone out there?
If you're the president and you got there by being you, how are you going to listen to somebody else say, "Tell me what to do"?
That's why.
No, I don't associate with that.
And
I would
he's
stop.
over 70 years old. He's never changing. This is who he is, people. This is who you elect.
See, my brother used to do that, and my dad would say, "You're telling on yourself. You're telling on yourself."
Your dad is like a book of quotes over here.
I wonder where she gets it
Roosevelt.
from.
I love it. He would just keep talking, like something would happen, and he would just feel compelled.
This is me.
To say, oh, well, you know, somebody else must have done that. And he's like, somebody like who?
Right.
And he's like, I don't know, somebody else, not me. It was like, and he's like, if you would just learn to be quiet, you would actually probably stay in less trouble than you are now.
You know what, though? Here's the difference. But Trump has been doing this kind of shtick his whole life and never really had any consequences.
Yeah, now there's legal consequences.
Now there's like real, legit consequences.
Which he doesn't know.
You're president of the United States, words matter, and he's not used to that level of responsibility, which is one of my concerns about electing someone with narcissistic personality disorder like him. He's a megalomaniac with the most powerful job in the world that has no impulse control.
I completely agree. And remember, if you're digging a hole, what does my dad always say? Stop digging.
And pay your legal bills, by the way. Trump is notorious for not paying his legal bills. Just ask any lawyer in New York City.
Painters and carpenters
and
window washers.
Yes, that's true. With Cohen, because Cohen doesn't like money.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Right.
He doesn't know where it comes from.
Yeah.
We are just having a ball up here, guys.
No one is safe.
We have ours, yeah.
It's
Welcome back. Plans are being made right now for Saturday's funeral of former First Lady Barbara Bush. She died yesterday at the age of 92 with her husband of 73 years, former President George H.W. Bush, holding her hand. Let's take a look back at her extraordinary life.
I, George Herbert Walker Bush, do solemnly swear
to see that same fellow that I used to drive around in Little League carpools and I used to yell at to please pick up his room, to see him as president is truly amazing.
Barbara Bush's death comes just days after her family announced she was no longer seeking supportive medical treatment, instead of opting for comfort care. And Jeff, this touches so many of us, as well as those who have elderly parents. We can all relate.
Thanks, Sam. Yeah, we definitely can. We've been talking about it down here. It's a sad day for the Bush family, and it's such an emotional and difficult decision for everybody involved to make that for your parents. And that's what we're going to talk about. Should you make that for yourself, or is this something that you should worry about as the son or daughter? Erica, why don't you kick off the questions?
Well, Cindy Claybug, watching in Knoxville on WBIR, writes, 3 weeks ago, my husband made the same choice to discontinue medical intervention and opt for comfort care. His last days were so poignant and cathartic. He spent many memorable quality hours with me, his children, and grandchildren.
Oh, my.
First, we are terribly sorry for your loss. I think it's such a gift to a family when you're able to take control of what's going to happen to you in your last days. And recently we experienced something very similar with Aunt Fran, who passed away at the end of last year. And I was just so impressed by how organized and how on her own terms she died exactly the way that she lived. And I think that's a blessing.
That's amazing. Wow. Cindy, thank you. Joan Loesch is watching in Houston on KHOU, writes in, quote, I would do exactly what Barbara Bush did and go home to be in the comfort with my family. You know, 10 years ago, we didn't talk about palliative care like this. And if any of you are watching and you're a hospice nurse or doctor, I absolutely bow down to you because you are an angel sent from heaven. It is a hard thing to do, but when you die with dignity, there's something to be said about that memory that I think we will cherish for the rest of our lives. So if anyone works in that kind of area, it's very, very difficult emotionally. But again, my blessings to you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, guys, during the break on Facebook Live, we will discuss the legacy of Barbara Bush. So please join us. We are live. Digital producer Brett Forrest with news at the moment.
Thanks, Jeff. Puerto Rico is in the dark today as an island-wide blackout hit the U.S. territory 7 months after Hurricane Maria. The outage sparked long gas lines with scenes like you see here as a man tries to bring power back to his workshop. Local officials say it could take up to 36 hours to fully restore. Outspoken San Juan Mayor Carmen Cruz sent this tweet saying, the entire electrical system in Puerto Rico collapses again back to September 20th, which is the date Hurricane Maria hit. The Cleveland Indians and Minnesota Twins are set to play a game tonight in San Juan, but thanks to backup generators, it will go on as planned.
Thanks, Brett. All right.
Puerto Rico is...
Yeah, we need...
That's an embarrassment on our legacy as Americans.
It's been going on for a while, though. It's unfortunate it's going on still.
Everything is better when it's free. That's why sometimes you don't jump in. Including drinks. We've got some easy tips on scoring free cocktails the next time you're at the bar. And Al is searching for the web for the craziest viral videos he could find and giving his 2 cents. Al sounds off next.
Kelly, why don't you come in and talk to him?
Hey guys, Brett Forrest here. As you just heard my report from Puerto Rico, they lost power today. Officials say it was from an excavator from a contractor, so they were actually doing power work when they must have knocked out the grid. And the grid has been pretty unstable since the hurricane hit back in September, because they have suffered intermittent power outages, but this one affected the whole island, so kind of causing more distress for the people down there.
Yeah, the people who are already not doing well with still trying to come back from the hurricane. I mean, it's still not a good situation there, but... Yeah,
and I was reading they were focusing on the hospitals and airports first to get power back there for obvious reasons. And like I said, 24 to 36 hours to bring back the power to the whole island.
Yep, so it's going to be a while, but hopefully they speed that up, but I don't know if they're going to be able to get it quick. But the hospital's obviously the most important to those people who are sick. Even people who are dying. I mean, it's just not a good situation.
Anyone has relatives that we'd love to hear how they are doing and how they're faring?
Yeah, so if you guys have relatives down in Puerto Rico who are there right now or have been there since the hurricane, reach out to them, see how they're doing, and then let us know in the comments because we want to hear from them. Obviously, without power, it's going to be hard, but I know there are ways, especially with the backup generators I mentioned.
After the hurricane,
Yeah, so it is interesting to hear that the MLB was having a series there between the Indians and the Twins that is happening tonight, and Carmen Cruz, the mayor, she said that is happening as planned.
Wow.
with increased security, she said, and the backup generators are helping make that happen. And she also tweeted out, just in reference to the other story, that the flags at the stadium will be flown half-mast for Barbara Bush in honor of her. So, yeah, even in the midst of all this trouble in Puerto Rico, they were still able to honor the First Lady.
Yep.
All right, so let's check out just some comments about Barbara Bush that have been coming in.
Yeah, Patricia says, you touched a lot of hearts in the world. You will be missed dearly, praying for your family and friends. Oh, and Janie says she's commenting on the Puerto Rico. The grid has been horrible for years. Yep, you're right, Janie. We've been reporting on that.
So thanks for that input, Janie. So with the hurricane hitting, it must have gotten even worse.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next break.
Yep, stay safe, guys.
Welcome back to Daily Blast Live. It's time now for Al Sounds Off, when Al Jackson goes off on the wildest stories he could find. Let's get right into this, Al. From the runway to your closet, Calvin Klein just released $390 gloves. Don't worry, they're not sold out.
Yeah, Jeff, I'm not worried about this. Usually when you use rubber gloves like this, you're cleaning out your sink.
Yeah.
This case, $400, they're cleaning out your wallet. And honestly, guys like me and you, we see rubber gloves at our age, we get a little nervous. I honestly think this is the silliest thing I've ever seen. Why are you showing me these silly videos?
Because, I don't know, I mean, idiots must just wear these, you know what I mean?
These stupid gloves, Jeff.
Al, what do you...
Let's just go to the next video.
All right. Last night on Love at First Flight, the couples head to Sin City, and one man's patience gets tested not once, not twice. You get the point. Roll the clip.
One lap dance, whatever. Then the second one happened, and then the third time it happened. I was feeling pretty uncomfortable at that point. And then that's when I guess the fourth time happened. I'm basically done.
There you go.
Yeah, this guy was making it rain at the strip club, but it was with his tears. Dude, yeah, 4 lap dances. You're at the strip club. You're not at the Christian Science reading room. You should have known where you were. And honestly, dude, it's like, they say there's no sex in the champagne room. In this case, for his case, let's hope he's right. Let's go to the last one.
All right, if you want to take Instagramming your food to the next level, head to the Egg House, a place dedicated to creating perfect pics with everyone's favorite food. Eggs.
Not my favorite food. Jeff, I hate eggs. Why would you play this? First of all, this egg house is silly. The only house I went in my life better have waffle in front of it, all right?
Yeah.
That's the only place that's important. And finally, I'm going to tell you this. Anybody that went here, it's stilly, so yolk's on you.
Oh,
get it?
Al. Yeah, I get it. How many egg puns you got?
About a dozen.
All right, there you go. That's Al Sounds Off, everybody, and this is comedian Al Jackson. We are live. Ebony has a new trending story coming in hot.
Yes, thanks, Jeff. Food and Wine asked bartenders their tips for scoring free drinks. Here are some insider tricks. First, announce you're celebrating a big event. Earn a raise or propose to the love of your life and tell the bartender your news. They might just want to celebrate with you with a free cocktail. Next, show up to the bar when it's slow. They might just comp you a drink for keeping them company on a slow night. Lastly, bring your office in for happy hour. Bartenders say bringing your coworkers in is a smart way to get free drinks on your next visit. And as always, please tip your bartenders.
That's right. Thanks, Eb. Up next on Daily Blast Live, a developing story happening right now. Charges could come at any moment in the death of a prince. A mom steps up and sings for her daughter when she gets stage fright. The video is going viral, and we have the mom right here on Daily Blast Live. Don't go anywhere.
Promotion.
Hey guys, we are here with Tara Setmayer. She's our guest host. She's been phenomenal. And although she's conservative and I'm a bleeding heart liberal, guess what? We both love one Barbara Bush. We absolutely do. She was a phenomenally strong-headed but very funny woman. In D.C., she's known as the Enforcer. Yep. And with a family, as I always say, with 2 presidents, I went to school with Jenna and Barbara in around the same area, and the ones they were scared of was Miss Barbara Bush. So do you have any personal stories that you remember, or at least?
I never had the pleasure of meeting Barbara Bush, but I did have the pleasure of meeting President Bush when he was in office. And being in D.C., you just know the stories.
The reputation.
And the congressman I worked for was a Reagan speechwriter for 7 years, so we used to hear all the stories about, you know, the Bushes and the Reagans and things, and the Reagan family. But Barbara Bush, she was self-deprecating. Anyone who ever listened to her interviews and hear her talk, she was too much.
Dry sense of humor.
She was great. George W. Bush did an interview this morning where he talked about his last conversation with her, where she joked with the doctor, saying that, you know why he's like the way he is? Because I drank and smoked while I was pregnant with him. I mean, this was a week before she passed away.
She had bourbon the day she died. That's exactly right.
She was a really a special lady. And something else people didn't realize is that she was really an astute political mind. Even though at a time where in her generation that really wasn't the role of a first lady, she had a lot of influence and had a lot to say and was brilliant when it came to political strategy for the careers of her husband and her sons.
That's true. Paul Ryan is speaking about her. We're going to go through these. Next one coming up. We have Gabrielle Giffords. Remember, she was shot. Unfortunately, she was a congresswoman throughout her life. Barbara Bush has made her presence felt. Her warmth and compassion won't soon be forgotten. Going to the next one.
All right, here we go.
And this cute voodoo donut made an amazing cake of Barbara Bush. May she rest. She was a terrific role model and a wonderful lady.
National treasure.
That's exactly right.
Get full hair instantly or get your money back. Call or click right now.
All right, media. You might want to grab tissues for this story coming in hot. I know I had to. It's a viral video that captures a very special moment between a mom and her daughter at a talent show. This is after the young girl stopped singing because of stage fright. And she did just that. Joining us is Supermom Shay Washington. Thank you so much for talking to us. Now, this video is all over the internet. I just have to ask, what went through your mind when you saw your daughter, Michaela, on stage struggling a little bit?
Just looking at her facial expressions, it seemed like she felt like she was gonna fail. So I was like, I can't let my baby feel like she's a failure. So I got up on stage with my sweatpants on and I was like, yes, I have to get up here and do basically what I think any mom would have done. It was all to support Michaela, to let her know that, you know, you have to persevere and overcome your obstacles. Even though you forgot the words, still just go on and do what you have to do.
What did Michaela say to you, you know, when you guys got back home?
She said I was a hero, but I was just like, girl, I'm just doing what I gotta do for you.
Thank you for talking to us and inspiring not just mothers, but everyone to rise up in times of maybe when we see somebody else struggling. We thank you so much and we honor you. Thank you. We love you here at Daily Blast Live.
All right. Thank you so much.
What a good mom.
Oh, I was going to say that. You know, and the daughter was accepting of it too. Usually some kids would be like, Mom, I'm embarrassed, don't come up here. But she helped her, and what a great story.
We had to boost her confidence. It's, you know, I used to be in performing arts school, and it's not easy to perform in front of people.
No.
So that's boost her confidence. That was cool.
Yeah.
And that song will be in my head the rest of the day.
Rise up!
I live for that song.
That's what
All right, guys, stay tuned, because here is what's coming up on Daily Blast Live. Right after the break, don't go anywhere.
Shocking recordings released in the death of Stephon Clark, an unarmed black man killed by police. How long did it take for someone to finally give him medical attention? Plus, fake news warning.
We're entering an era in which our enemies can make it look like anyone is saying anything at any point in time.
Think this video is real? You won't believe who's behind it. And what's poutine? Jeff and Al used their bellies to answer that question in a two-man crew. Hey guys, if you want to be cool and listen to Connor Ashley's stories, what do we have to do? Pop that collar. Kelly Grega, please pop it. Now we're cool. What's going on, Connor?
Well, this is actually trending right now from one of our sister stations, WUSA 9 in Washington,
Oh, go
DC.
WUSA.
And essentially, well, the list of the 10 most popular or polluted 10 U.S. cities, well, 8 of them are in California. which I think we all sort of,
I mean, this is what we're all thinking, right?
Figure that out, ourselves. But it includes like Los Angeles, Long Beach area, Bakersfield.
You're saying
San Diego,
80% of
Fresno,
the most polluted
Sacramento.
cities are in California.
Correct.
I spent 10 years there, and guys, I got to be honest, it was wall-to-wall traffic constantly. And what happens is when you're on the highway, I don't know why I said the highway, and it goes in, you're sitting there, all the pollution just gets sucked up, and it's hot, and the marine layer sucks you in. It's a...
Well, it's crazy. You can't even, see a view
It's smogged.
most of the time.
It's smogged in.
And
then I moved to Colorado, and I remember getting out of the car and being like, blue skies, I can feel you. That's a weird song, but it was so freeing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, guys, we're doing better. It was...
And check out the full story on WSA 9.
That's amazing. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
All right, what's going on, Pop Collar?
Yeah, Pop Collar. Really interesting. So we are hearing that Ford is launching an on-demand medical service. So it's a transportation vehicle for non-emergency needs. So we're not saying that Ford is replacing, EMT and emergency vehicles. We're saying that if you need to get to a doctor's office, you can almost have an Uber-like transportation.
Interesting, because Uber's
to your
doing this
medical
too.
needs.
Remember that.
Uber's doing it as well, but Ford, it's going to be called Go Ride, and so you can contact GoRide.com and just give the date and your medical needs and the transportation services. So it is not launched yet, but keep an eye out because it should be dropping fairly soon. And let us know, do you guys want Ford and more Uber-like transportation services to medical appointments? Write in, we'll get back to you guys in the next break. And I'm going to put my collar down now because it doesn't look good like that.
Welcome back to Daily Blast Live. Guest co-host Tara Setmayer is with us all week. Guys,
thank you.
We're happy to have you.
Woo-hoo, happy to be here.
All right.
This is fun.
Let's get right to it, okay?
I like it. Come on.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
I like it, but let's settle down because we have a serious story that we want to talk about right now because new video today showing the fatal police shooting of unarmed black man Stephon Clark. The Sacramento police have released dozens of new audio and video recordings showing that it took at least 6 minutes to administer first aid to Clark. And a coroner report shows it took him 10 minutes to die. The recordings also show that police muted their body cameras several times during the aftermath. We put together a few moments from the new tapes, and we warn you, they're disturbing.
Good, yeah. Can you bring your mask? Rescue mask? I got him. Go ahead and go with him.
Wake up, breathe for me.
Did you fire?
Yes.
Come over here.
Both.
Both of you did?
Are you muted or on?
I'm muted, but I can.
Muted.
It was all disturbing, and I want to hear from you, Eric. I want to hear from everybody, but the fancy seeing you here, like the disregard of anyone's life that was on the ground there is it's kind of tough to watch.
Okay, I want to jump in on this.
Please.
Because, yes, it's tough to watch anytime someone is involved in a violent incident or losing their life, but we have to put this in context. First of all, that's only an edited version of the video. I suggest everyone watch the videos in their entirety. They have been released. The context of this situation, first let's address the medical care. So police officers are trained not to move in a situation until it's tactically prudent to do so. At the time when he was shot, it was at night. They did not see both of his hands. So at that point, they were not aware of whether he had a weapon or not. At the time, they thought he was potentially armed. They did not know that it was only a cell phone. So they called out, are you all right? And so the reason why, it wasn't that they were just brazen and didn't administer medical care to him. They were unsure whether it was a safe environment to move in yet. Once they determined it was, then he was given medical care. They called over the radio to get him medical care. So they followed proper procedure until they determined it was safe to go in. Now, that's part of the investigation of this. They're going to see whether that was the right amount of time or whatever. But I just don't want the impression to be that they brazenly let someone just bleed out there.
They did.
No, they did not. That is unfair. That is so unfair to say that.
I think it's BS. They shot someone 20 times, and they think he's still alive.
Wait a minute. Why did they shoot him? Do you know why they shot him?
Tell me. You tell me.
I'll tell you why they shot him. Let's explain to people the context of this. The context was they got a 911 call that there was a man breaking into cars in the neighborhood. So the police officers were dispatched. When they got there, this man matched the description. They saw him looking in a car in a driveway, and then he ran when they engaged him. So here's the compliance. He ran. That's important.
But wait a minute.
He ran away from them. They're on the video. They say, show me your hands. He did not show them his hands. He continued to flee from them in the dark, around a corner, out of their view. Do you know how many gun-related deaths there were in Sacramento? 36 gang-related deaths, 1,000 gun-related arrests.
Do you think
so these officers are not operating in a vacuum. That's important to understand.
We hear you, let me hear from Erica.
I really feel like we're trying to justify the unjustifiable here.
Agree.
Because at the end of the day, they did not announce they were police officers. If this was a gang-infested area,
they were in uniform and they were in marked cars.
You said it was too dark for them to see.
When he ran from them.
It was too dark for them to see him.
When he ran from them around the corner,
yes. And it was too dark for him to see them.
So
we're saying
stop, show us your hands? What does that mean?
Because you just said it was a gang-infested area, which means that they could have been anybody. You're coming from an area.
With the police helicopter around also?
I'm coming from the west side of Chicago. If someone is chasing you, you run. The first thing that my cousin Michael taught me was to run and hop over fences if we were in danger.
Not from the police.
They did not announce themselves. So I can't sit here and justify the unjustifiable when we know that there is a historical context in this country. April 28th, we have a museum opening that's dedicated to the lynching of black men, women, and children in this country, sanctioned by police. So when we have talk about the deep-seated issues in America, we cannot ignore the fact that this is a historically contested issue. And the fact is, an unarmed black man was shot. He was
running from the
police 10 minutes.
20 times. Running from the police.
Running from the police that did not identify themselves.
Stop, show us your hands. I'm sorry. What gang member is telling somebody to stop, show us your hands with a police helicopter around?
An area, or
that's
you
ridiculous.
Said that the area was dangerous.
Not an excuse for
so if you're in an area and the area is dangerous, who knows who that person could be for any reason?
I'm sorry.
Stop showing your hands or stop it all.
Helicopter. Well, listen, there is a Supreme Court case. It's Graham versus Connor, 1989, that discusses reasonable use of force. And the standard there is whether a police officer has a reasonable, it's reasonable for them to think that there was a dangerous situation or a deadly force situation. When someone is fleeing after a 911 call, they thought he had a gun in the dark, you tell them to stop, show us your hands, they don't, then the standard there is reasonable.
Did they sound scared afterwards?
No, they sounded very calm, actually. They sounded very calm.
Before they even administered medical assistance.
That's protocol. You know how many police officers have been shot when in situations like that, when people still have guns on them? Police officers have lives too.
Would you sit there and would you ever let a surgeon who had shaky hands perform on you? Would you ever get on a flight with somebody who was visually impaired as the pilot?
That didn't happen
so why are we talking about people who decide that they're going to protect and serve when really they're going to Rambo a man for running away from them?
That is unfair. That is unfair. There are thousands of police officers who are good servants that are trained every single day. That wake up every day to protect and serve. They don't wake up deciding to shoot someone that day. It takes a lot to do that. Are there some bad officers? Yes. And I don't think in this case, these officers, the way it seemed, at least from the video, that they acted unreasonably, they acted out of control, they were perfectly calm, and I'm sure
because that's
protocol. You want them to be calm.
I appreciate the other side. I love that. I love your passion, Erica. You guys are the best. We have to move on here. We are live. Digital producer Kelly Schubert with news at the moment.
Yeah, I've got a story just in for you. We've just learned that a Minnesota prosecutor will announce if they will file charges in Prince's death. The announcement will come tomorrow, just days before the 2-year anniversary of the iconic singer. It's possible the prosecutor will announce no charges are going to be filed, but it's still unclear who supplied the fentanyl that caused Prince's fatal overdose. We'll keep you updated.
All right, thank you. We're going to move on now because this is an important story as well. A new video is going viral, and it appears to show President Obama saying some pretty crazy stuff. Watch closely and listen.
We're entering an era in which our enemies can make it look like anyone is saying anything at any point in time, even if they would never say those things. So, for instance, they could have me say things like, I don't know, Killmonger was right, or Ben Carson is in the sunken place, or, how about this, simply, President Trump is a total and complete dip. Now, you see, I would never say these things, at least not in a public address, but someone else would. Someone like Jordan Peele.
Wow.
And as you saw, that wasn't really Obama's voice. It was comedian and filmmaker Jordan Peele trying to make a point about how realistic the future of fake news really can be. And this is scary, to be honest with you. Very scary.
And I said it last night on Access, and I'm not comparing anybody to a dictatorship, but what happens with the press in a dictatorship? The state runs it, and you have no control. And at some point, if we get too far over with fake news and all this, we're going to start seeing truth where we don't know what to trust. That's called a dictatorship. When you have no one to trust but the one man or woman at the top, then we're all sheep. So we have got to be, this should be absolutely terrifying. And bravo for Jordan Peele, because he is global. People recognize Obama. It looked real. And guess what? It's in the new Adobe Photoshop.
Yeah,
you can do this on your laptop.
And people need to be aware. I mean, this could start wars, literally. I mean, Kim Jong-un is unstable. If he saw a video like this, who knows what would happen?
You could hit a button without knowing. And talk about what you guys were saying with body cams. You could manipulate body cams.
Yeah, it's
you could do anything here.
Well, this is why what Donald Trump is doing and what people who enable Donald Trump with this fake news stuff is so dangerous, because most people, they don't take the time to just say, well, where did this come from? Are they some kind of forensic videographer?
Yeah, right.
They don't know whether it's real or fake or not, and it's easily manipulated. That's why, when you control information, you have a lot of power, and Donald Trump knows that. So that's why I'm so passionate about stop with this fake news stuff, because when what really is fake news, people don't know how to differentiate it, and that's how you manipulate people's
Check out Facebook
behavior. That's right. That's what the Russians did. They recognized it, and this is just another level.
If you ever see me cheering for anybody other than the Bears, it's fake.
He's like, go Michigan.
They're not even a pro team. Okay. All right. A sweet new clothing line has just launched. Ebony has a story coming in hot.
I'm not Ebony. I'm the digitized version. But I do have a question. That was really bad. Okay, you'll get it on the way home. What's the best Starburst flavor? Anybody? Well, obviously, it's pink, and now you can wear it. They just released pink Starburst merchandise. The pink treat flew off the shelves when an exclusive pink-only pack was released last year. Now, I Am a Pink Starburst is available on sweatshirts, jackets, tees, scarves, and even a neon sign. Prices start at $20. Check it out on your own, or you can go to Starburst.com. That's pinkstarburst.com. DBL Nation, you tell us, what's your favorite Starburst flavor?
Yellow.
Yellow's your favorite?
It's a palate cleanser.
I'm going cherry.
I like yellow. I like lemon.
Yellow is
What's your favorite?
Red is my favorite.
I'll go with
pink.
Oh, no.
Pink?
Pink is a shadow of another Starburst flavor. You know what I mean? It's not even really there.
It's a weird taste, the pink, I think.
It's like an innuendo of a Starburst.
I'm fired up about all stories today. Now it's time for our top feel-good stories of the day. Sam, you have all the videos that are making DBL Nation smile.
Tori calling it a palate cleanser. It's like a limoncello shot. All right. Prince Harry and fiancée Meghan Markle are meeting with young members of the Commonwealth Youth Forum today in London. Meghan's presence at this particular event was highly unusual, as she is not yet officially a royal. But you know Prince Harry, always breaking the rules for love. And Pink is the new cover girl for People magazine's beautiful issue, and she brought along her 2 kids for the photo shoot. She says of her parenting style, I believe in letting your kids know they can count on you and that you'll be there. And Carrie Underwood has just announced that she'll release her next album this September. It's called Cry Pretty, and here's a behind-the-scenes sneak peek.
Sometimes you get together and write a song that is kind of exactly what you're feeling at that moment, and that was Cry Pretty for me. I think Cry Pretty sets the tone for the rest of the album because it's emotional and it is real, but there's also just some incredible musical moments.
Carrie's album will drop this September 14th, and we can't wait here at DBL. And coming up on Daily Blast Live, a small Jewish population joins forces to make a big impact. We'll tell you all about Mitzvah Day and how it's helping the community. And up next, Al and Jeff are revving up your appetites as they discover what is poutine. It's a 2-man crew you don't want to miss.
I didn't realize that poutine was so hard. Did you know what poutine was? Yeah. I thought poutine was well known.
to school in Canada, though.
Do you know what I always wanted to do? Wait, Jeff. I wanted to put poutine on a Ritz and called it poutine on the Ritz. So side.
I know this team here.
I think that's something.
You really
You
brought
guys
it out
are
of top
writing
sheet
in,
number.
I'm a Tori Showman, yellow, lemon, whatever. It's an amuse-bouche. Jeff, they're loving your Chicago Bears. Can I tell you something?
Yeah. You ruined it with
I
the
wanted to
Michigans.
I wanted to put poutine on a Ritz and call it poutine on the Ritz.
Oh my God. Well, I didn't know what they were
Wait, isn't
talking
there a
about.
joke like
I thought they were talking about pootang. Like pootie tang? I was like, what?
No, we were not.
We're
not. We're talking about gravy. We're talking about gravy.
We're talking about French fries and gravy. Oh,
That's exactly right. I like the
telling
green,
you.
but they do make me horny, says David Wilson. I think that's Eminem, sir. I think that's Eminem.
I think you just wanted an excuse to say that you were horny.
Sierra McKenzie, I love the 2 New Man Crew graphic. Oh, that's Emma. Did you do the graphic, Emma? I'm glad she's listening. Very glad she's listening. Orange for me, Ellis Walker. Anyone here like orange?
Nobody likes orange.
I like orange. Okay, look at the anger. Take this, Chris.
Nobody likes orange or Tory. I mean, yellow. Orange is good.
Nobody likes orange or Tory.
I don't like pink.
I don't like pink.
I like all the other ones.
Here's
I
why.
don't like
It's
the pink
like
one.
everything else is like, it's a nice strong taste, and then pink you're like,
Yeah, it's weird.
what's
yeah.
there?
It's like Diet Pepsi.
It is. It's almost
weird
like, you know what's like, it's an endive. You know, one of those like arugula. There's nothing there. It's just wet air.
At least endive is like bitter. At least
I hate it. I don't like
I like
the
it with
endive.
blue cheese. I'll take a good endive salad.
I will just take the blue cheese.
With blue cheese and like apple and.
I don't know. There's only
But
one
get rid of the
location now.
endive and give me those other
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to those places where we had those buffalo balls and get a steak.
Somebody has to tell me good buffalo wings.
The buffalo.
They're in Denver.
yeah.
They're everywhere. Now they
I
went to a
love
place
buffalo
for buffalo wings. What was it called?
Where?
No, Buffalo. Rocky Mountain Oysters.
Where do we go for
you
wings?
did that with Scott.
The wings.
Fire on
Oh,
the
that was
Mountain. It's called.
Fire on the mountain.
Is it in where? Is it
That
in
was the
downtown?
wings place. That was the wings
It's
place.
like it's
I want some
like
wings
Lodo.
before I leave.
Fire on the
yeah.
Mountain.
Okay.
You know what time it is. It's time for 2 Man Crew, and today our very own Jeff and Al head to a pop-up poutoonery. So what? Poutoonery. Oh man, guys, it feels like Friday. So what is poutine? Let's find out.
What's up, guys? Jeff and Al here, 2 Man Crew. Today we're going international, right, Al?
That's right, we're at Air Canada's pop-up poutineery. Yeah.
What'd you call me?
No, poutine. It's an iconic Canadian dish, and you're about to have it right now.
What is poutine?
Poutine is a classic Canadian dish with French fries, gravy, and cheese curds. We have created 9 unique dishes that's aligning with our Asia Pacific market. So fly the Canadian way.
Wait, does that mean that everybody has to say A after everything they say on the flight?
Yes.
A.
This originated in the 1950s in Quebec. So what we start with here is going to be some fries.
Some fries, eh?
Some cheese curds. You got the honors there.
All right.
And then we're going to go in with the beef gravy here.
All right.
Sam, was the person who invented this happen to be hungover by any chance?
Possibly. That's probably a good possibility.
No. We got some twists on the original poutine,
Yeah,
right?
so we actually have 10 different dishes that we're serving up here. We have 2 right here, the Shanghai and the tempeh.
The proof is in the poutine.
Call this one the Brisbane. Fries, smoked cheddar cheese, barbecued sausage gravy.
All right, Sam, this is our final poutine dish here.
So we call this the soul. Potato chips, cheese curds, kimchi, fermented cabbage right on top.
Best friends forever. All right.
All right. Kimchi is just a secret friend that sneaks up on your taste buds like, oh, you didn't know I was coming, did you?
All right, Al. I'm getting pooped from all this poutine.
Oh, man, I don't blame you, but you know what, in the end, it's all gravy, baby.
It sure is, buddy. 2 Man Crew.
That's right.
International style.
Yeah.
Dude, that stuff is my new favorite.
All right.
It's
look
the
at
jam.
it.
Yes.
You guys,
That's just holding it like it's a litter of
is the-
kittens. Like, let people see it.
That's the soul one. See the kimchi?
So I think you guys should put it on a Ritz cracker and call it poutine on the Ritz.
I actually like that one. I
actually
wanted to
pretty
dislike it. I like that one. That was a good one. All right.
It was funnier the second time, actually.
It was like the 3rd time. I apologize.
Uh-huh.
All right.
All right, Jeff, get us out of here.
Think
Thinking of planning a trip this summer? Why not take a tasty road trip along some of the best food and drink trails in the U.S.? Ebony has the story, and it's coming in hot.
Putin on the Ritz, I'm sorry. Okay, popsugar.com has a trending story about the best food and drink trails to explore. The first stop, the Donut Trail in Butler County, Ohio. They say they have the largest number of donut shops per capita. Pick up a donut passport at one of the shops, then visit every stop and turn in a completed passport for a free Donut Trail t-shirt. Next up, the Buffalo Wings Trail in, you guessed it, Buffalo, New York. Check out 12 stops, including one at the Anchor Bar. It's the birthplace of the original Buffalo Wing. And finally, Denver, Colorado. Check out the Denver Beer Trail. That's right, it's a beer lover's dream with 35 stops at some of the city's best breweries. Suddenly, I'm hungry for wings. How about you guys? Y'all already still putting on the
poutine. We got the poutine over here. We're all set.
I'm like, everybody
is crushing it. I wanted to eat more, but then I have to do the teas.
Oh,
so let's get out. I'm going to eat some poutine.
Professional, Jeff.
We speak to the organizer of Mitzvah Day, an organization that has transformed hundreds of lives in South Carolina. Here at Daily Blast Live, we know we love your viral videos, and this one got over 3.5 million views on our DBL Facebook page. This guy isn't the only one wondering where summer is. Am I right? Huh?
Yeah.
Putin?
Start your day the DBL way. Go to our website or Facebook page and subscribe to our free morning newsletter, The Breakfast Blast. It's delivered right to your inbox, and it gives you the latest headlines. Subscribe now and be in the know before your first cup of joe.
Could I have that email? All right, am I on? All right. I just wanted to take a second to respond to something I said in the second hour. I don't often go back on what I said, but one thing I do regret is there's a documentary called 13, and it's about the prison system and how it works. And I said at the end of it, I was like, oh, I was really frustrated. I was like, oh, well, I'm sorry, I was eating poutine. I said, no one's going to watch this documentary. You know what? That was negative of me, and that was wrong. I want you guys to go out and watch this documentary, and then write me and let me know what you think. So please watch that documentary 13. It's important and explains a lot about our prison system. With that said, we have an email from a viewer named Jackie. Jackie, I don't know if you're still watching, but that's my mom's name, so see, we're already connected. Jackie says, I really enjoyed this show, but as of today, I'm done. Al's statement and rant about all police really sickens me. I'm an officer's wife, 24 years. He puts his life on the line. And it's easier for somebody like Al, my name's in quotes, Al. My name's really Al, who's living the Hollywood life. I live in Denver. To say that all officers are a certain way. Listen, I taught middle school for 5 years. And one thing on a multiple choice test, you never go with all, okay? I'm not saying all anything. I'm saying that there is a problem that we have to address, Jackie. It's uncomfortable. I know that you're very close to the situation because your husband does do something that's very important to our community, and I applaud him for that. And I'm sure your husband's a great cop. But at the same time, I'm sure your husband would agree that as we watch like dozens of black men be killed in the last year and a half, 2 years, it goes way back to Amadou Diallo, which was in the late 90s. I mean, we have to address this problem. And by turning our heads and saying, if you address it, I'm not watching anymore, that's not going to help the situation. So I would love to hear what your husband has to think. We'll go back and we'll have a pleasant dialogue. But Jackie, don't turn us off. We talk for 3 hours a day. If we say one thing you don't like, give us a second chance. Love you, girl.
3, 2.
Today's Extra Shot is about giving back to the community. Daily Blast Live's parent company, Tegna, is honoring people who are making a difference. Today, it's the organizers of Mitzvah Day, a South Carolina group bettering their community.
In a big southern city with a small Jewish population, the only 2 synagogues in the Columbia, South Carolina area teamed up for Mitzvah Day. 150 volunteers help people of all faiths. Everything from making blankets, visiting senior citizens, and distributing blessing bags full of toiletries and bottled water. They also partnered with Food Not Bombs, an organization that helps get fresh produce that's not sold at stores to the people who need it most.
Lainey Cohen, creator of Mitzvah Day, joins us now. Lainey, what was your reaction when you learned you were chosen out of hundreds of organizations for the Make a Difference Day award?
Absolutely, completely speechless, which is relatively unheard of.
Tell me how Mitzvah Day has impacted your community.
We have brought people who otherwise would not have known each other in our small Jewish community together. And not only have they become friends and done things socially, but they've also gone out and done other volunteer into the community beyond Mitzvah Day. They meet regularly to do volunteer projects. Our children have taken a vested interest in spreading the love and in doing more community service volunteer projects.
You know, I was just going to ask you about the kids because so many kids were involved in Mitzvah Day. And as you said, they were continuing to make this happen. Have there been other acts of service that you've seen them inspired to do?
Oh my gosh. Well, beyond the Food Not Bombs, the kids have regularly within one of the Sunday school classes, one of the grades, 7th and 8th grades, have actually come together, and they now have gone out into different religions, different organizations, and have helped the needy, have helped continue to serve through Food Not Bombs, and it's just been wonderful.
Well, Lainey, you yourself are such an inspiration in everything that you're doing in the community. Congratulations on the success of Mitzvah Day, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored.
We are live. Digital producer Kelly Schubert with news at this moment.
Yep, it's tax day again. And if you waited until the last minute, you're in luck. We told you first on Daily Blast Live that the IRS website was having major issues accepting returns yesterday. Now, as you can see, the IRS is giving you until midnight tonight to file your return. DBL Nation, tell us, have you filed your tax return yet? Jeff, how about you?
I already got that extension. All good. All good. All right, here at Daily Blast Live, we love your viral videos like this one taken by Victor Valley Daily Press. Chief photographer James Quigg. Tumbleweeds take over neighborhoods in Victorville, California. Just right outside Los Angeles, high winds blew them in, making for quite an unusual sight. That's crazy.
Looks like Dr. Seuss.
We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration.
Hey guys, so I just want to let you know that that wonderful human being was one of many that actually won for Make a Difference Day. And Tegna and us here at Daily Blast Live want to give you a little bit of a video of some of the other winners. So, Leo, take it away.
Daily Blast Live is honored to celebrate all of the winners of the Make a Difference Day initiative, driven by Arby's Points of Light and our parent company, Tegna. Every year, people make a big difference in their communities, all in a single day of volunteer service. In Pittsburgh, volunteers created art kits and collected diapers for kids in need. More than 8,000 people came together in Wenatchee, Washington to help hundreds of thousands. People turned out in McKinney, Texas for its 19th Make a Difference Day. 2 synagogues teamed up for a Mitzvah Day in Columbia, South Carolina. In Alabama, 175 Auburn students repaired houses for people in need. 200 volunteers planted 850 trees in Battleground, Washington. Aspiring teachers packed school supplies for students in Florida and Puerto Rico. Hilton, New York, the little village with a big heart, completed 15 different projects. Volunteers in Minneapolis built and refurbished 338 bikes for kids in need. A community of North Carolina seniors collected golf equipment for the state's poorest counties. Hundreds in Trumbull County, Ohio, came out to help the Appalachian community. Volunteers in Truckee, California, made the world's biggest tutu to fight breast cancer. And Lincoln, Nebraska, high schoolers held an empowerment camp for underprivileged girls.
Welcome back to Daily Blast Live. Now, Tara, was this your first time eating poutine?
It was, but I'm sorry. I'm loyal to my disco fries in Jersey. Fries with gravy and cheese. Disco fries, sorry.
There you go. Right from Tara's mouth. The stories never stop. We don't either. We are live on YouTube and Facebook. That's how we do Wednesday, everybody.
Yeah, we do.